Right. Let's see if this microphone is working. It says it is. Let's see if I can't hear it myself. Okay, perfect. So, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to those folks out on the West Coast. And we're here for another day of chatting. I am sending Marcus the link to get into the chat right now. Or not the chat, but the show. But to get us started, Dawood actually recorded us a video. So let me bring that on screen. So Dawood's always telling us how he's getting free charging. So now let's see it in action. So I'm going to come over here and we're going to share a screen. It is a video, but it's not a video I have on my hard drive. So we want this one. All right, and then we want to move me to Logger Reacts view. There we go. And Anders says, good evening from Stockholm at Sweden at 1911. Good evening indeed. And let's see here. And Eddie tells me happy belated birthday. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, so let's see. What do I want to do here is click play. And that should do the trick, I think. Let me know if you guys don't hear audio.
Good morning, Kacey and Let's Chat viewers and hosts. I thought I would share with you guys this morning how I have gone almost 2 years without paying to charge. So here I am doing my morning switch. It's Sunday morning, and I'm at the partnership, which is a state-run entity that allows for free charging. There's about 20 chargers here that you can use to charge your EV. So you can see I've switched out my wife's car, dropped off my car, which just needs a top off, and then I'll come back and get it later. And we have here another Tesla charging, a Model X charging, and this is my first time seeing the Volvo, the XC40 over here, which looks like it already has some front end damage. That sucks.
I basically thought this car only came in white. I've only ever seen it in white. Over 55 examples before this.
And then if you can see further off, there are 2 Tesla Model Ys charging. And that's normal for here. We'll usually catch a few Teslas here charging. So, hope this was helpful. Bye.
Thank you for that, Dawood. All right, let's see. Zachary says good morning. And, well, actually, he says hi, everyone. But still, good morning. And Eddie says at level 2, I'm sure. Absolutely. That is a charge point level 2 station. Dawood made it. Hello, sir.
Good morning. You would put my video up first, so.
I was going to wait, but then you said you weren't going to be here, so I was like,
I'm
put it first.
not here. I got like 10 minutes, but I said,
okay.
Put my video up. I guess I'll come on for a second, just in case you had any questions or anything.
Yeah, tell us about it. So Eddie thinks it's level 2, and I said yes.
Yeah, those are level 2. So we'll get a full charge. Depending on when we pull in, between 6 to 8 hours, because I'll bring that thing in with like 10%. So.
Hey, might as well take advantage of that weekend charge rate.
Exactly. Well, my charge rate is free.
That's what I'm saying. Yes. Don't have anywhere else to go. Just drop it off, and then just ready for the week.
Yeah, and it's like a 3/4 of a mile from my house. So we dropped my wife's car off last night after dinner, and then we walked home. So a little after dinner exercise. And then I got up early this morning, brought my car, and took her car home. And now she's running out doing errands. And if I need to go somewhere before she gets home, I got to walk back over there.
Right. So Sentry mode would use more power than the drive there and back.
Yeah, and we usually I always run Sentry mode when it's there, since it's charging.
I would. Definitely would. Just in case. We don't know where that dent on that Volvo came from.
I know. Well, I had one incident where I brought my wife's car to charge, and then I walked over to pick up my car, and I couldn't figure out why. I looked on my app, my car was unlocked. And when I got to my car, I opened the door, my key was sitting on the seat.
Oh. That'll do it.
It fell out of my pocket. Anybody could have just come and drove off with my car.
Mm-hmm. Not with pin to drive though.
Yeah, never used that.
Oh, you should probably start.
I guess so. That's just that extra step of having to
It
put
is
it
an extra
on.
step, but I mean, if everybody else
So
has to push to start or turn a key, I mean, it's not that hard for us to punch in a code.
I guess.
Although,
Mhm.
if it normally is parked in like a locked garage or something, then I could see that being more of a
Yes,
hassle than anything.
normally it is.
Yeah,
So yeah, but and I just turned it off because I just got my tires done at Tesla. So
yeah,
so when
and
they
they
when
get a little weird about it. It's like
yeah.
you have a whole laptop to get around this thing, and you want me to tell you my pin? You want me to turn it off?
Well, no, they do it. They turn it on for me, and then
Yeah,
they set it
yeah.
as my as my
Oh, they
phone
turn it back
number.
on it. Okay.
Right. So yeah. So then I have to go in and turn it off.
Oh,
So,
I see what you're saying because your place is probably like the one that I use where they had an incident and they
oh
just turn it on. That way, nobody who has the key can just take the car
oh.
without
This
knowing
is
you.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So the one I normally use had, and I'm assuming it's them because where else are you going to get four Teslas on that exact street except the
Uh,
Tesla store? Before now with the used car situation, now you can get them anywhere. But um, so we had just got here and then in the news, there were four Teslas stolen, and they caught three guys. I'm like, if you caught three guys and there were four cars, all in
hmm.
the same place, somebody got away. So somebody's out there that knows how to do this.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I had turned on pin to drive. The service center turned on pin to drive, and I was like, yeah, this is safe, better
Pin the
safe than
drive.
sorry.
Pin the drive. So,
I mean, there are ways around it aside from just picking the whole car up, but
oh my
it's
goodness.
an extra
So
added step.
there's one more thing about that video I didn't put on.
Yeah.
I turned the video off before I realized this. Was that
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it was about, yeah, I know you did see about a week ago. I posted on Facebook that we installed my wife's new front plate with a snap plate.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Taking that video, it was my first time realizing the plate is gone again.
Again?
It's gone.
Does it fall off, or is somebody stealing your
I don't know
plates?
what the heck is going.
You
It
might want to
had
get
to have
that.
fallen off.
You might need to get that electric plate. That way, it's got the GPS on it. Should somebody steal
I,
it? He's
I
right there,
got
officer.
it.
This tag is
Oh my
stolen when
goodness.
they put it on the new car.
Who was it? Was one of our friends, Demetria Ali, one of them recommended I get the stick-on plate. Or was it
Yeah,
no,
that was
Simferosa.
Prosa. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm glad your state is actually smart enough to realize that even if they're going to require that stupid front plate, they should let you use a 3M sticker, and
Yeah.
that's the way to go because then you have to worry
Yeah.
about aerodynamics. It doesn't look as ugly as the other ones. It's just I think it's the way to go.
Yep, yep. So hopefully I'll see if I need to get another plate first because it's a whole rigmarole. You gotta
Oh,
go
to get the new one,
you
yeah.
gotta, I gotta go back to DMV, get two new plates, and DMV's
It,
gonna be like, weren't you here last week? What the hell are you
right.
doing with these plates?
They have a FAQ on their website FAQ, so you can see if you could just order a new one from an authorized place. Robert Williams says hello. Um, the but at the same time, I wonder if they're going to give you a new number because now you have two front plates stolen. So if the same person stole them both, it could
Yeah,
look
no,
like they
they
have a
gave me a
little.
new number last time, so they'll
Oh,
probably
okay. I was
give
about to
me a
say 'cause
new
it looks like the
number
new person has a
again.
legit set because they got a
Yeah.
front and a back plate that match.
Right. No, you've got to bring the O and N,
Gotcha.
and then they issue you a whole new two set.
I think I think it might be better safe than sorry to get the new set and then do
Yeah.
what it says to replace it because
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
somebody out there does some stuff and they frame you.
Exactly. They got a full legal set.
Exactly.
Oh.
And
Oh
he
wow.
says, with plates, does aerodynamics make that much of a difference? Um, in the grand scheme of things, no, not really, but it does make the flow less smooth in
Mm.
some cases. Particularly mine, you see that like off-centered garbage I've got because I am maliciously complying. You must have a front plate. Fine, it's over there. uh, when we get back to South Carolina, that thing's coming off because one, there's nothing to put on it, and two, they don't use front plates in South
Then I
Carolina.
do it
So,
there. Okay. Well, yeah, we have to have them here, and oh well, I'll get back in
yeah.
compliance when I get some time.
But I'm not going to get rid of it because, in theory, our next place is Delaware or something like that that also has two plates, and then I don't want to have to rebuy it. That'd be a pain. It was only $20, but still. All right, let's see. first up, Tesla surpasses 35 million miles of full self-driving beta, and the pace isn't growing. That's kind of an article, kind of a step up from what we learned in the quarterly call. I think this is pretty cool, and it's just really just a law of numbers. If they sold a million cars last year, uh, and most of them are capable of FSD, and then you look at how many people joined in, and then look at how many people are getting let in and let in, then that number is just going to go exponentially unless everybody just stops driving one day, which uh, not everybody's going to do. I mean, like I stopped driving, but uh, I still put a whole mess of miles on the car, just not every day, all day, you know. And another article that came out, I think I ranted and raved about it last week, was some journalist who was being lazy. I think I did that one on air, didn't I? Journalists were being lazy and assumed that the 100,000 beta participants not increasing meant that people weren't buying it,
Hmm.
which is quite the logical fallacy leap to conclusions. Because it's not money that controls who's in the beta. It's a matter of the company controls who's in the beta. So just because you buy it doesn't mean that you're getting let into the beta. Um, so that's one. Then did we talk about Tesla limiting standard connectivity to 8 years? I think that was a Sunday thing.
Mm.
Yeah, it was 10 days ago. So yeah, we talked about it. Uh, I get it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but it makes sense. I mean, not a charity.
Gotta jump. Hopefully, I can come back later. But it's good seeing you in the audience.
Thank you for coming through. All right, so Robert sent me some links. I did not get a chance to go through them yet. I will see if I can't peruse them before the end of the show. Dan and Omar did send a significant amount of stories to the show, though, so uh, we are got a lot to talk about today. Um, Another news blurb was that the Tesla's production of 4680 batteries expects to be at 1,000 packs per week by the end of the year, which is good because, as Elon said on the conference call, they don't need them until next year. And so, my reasoning on that is that he also told us that the Cybertruck is going to be ready for the middle of next year. I think it's going to be at the end of next year because Elon and timelines, they are rarely they rarely jive. So that conclusion to me means that they haven't engineered the Cybertruck or the Semi or the Roadster to work without 4680s. This is my thought process. Now I'm thinking that the semi truck prototype was probably running on 2170s, but it takes a lot to re-engineer the car to do something, and it would not make sense to have to roll it back if you're expecting to be ready on time. Uh, and with the 2170 equipment making it into Austin, and Giga Berlin already making 2170s, that allows them to be flexible with whether using 2170s or 4680 structural packs in the Model Y out of those two plants. All right, what do we got? The Berlin plant did a test of mercury silver metallic and deep crimson multicoat paints, which we saw. The silver we saw, I think we showed a sample of it, and the deep crimson we saw a while ago on Elon's Model S. All right, I skipped a bunch of stories. I'm going to continue. Giga Shanghai is halfway to 1.2 million cars per year. So when David's 2.2 million comes up, they'll hit that and they'll probably run straight on through it. Omar says, pro tip on the snap plate: do not go through the car wash with it on. That's how mine broke and came off. Luckily, I got my plate back. Oh, there you go. See, I've got that thing hanging out to the side. It looks to be kind of fragile, and then I've got the the PPF, the paint protection film. So I already don't use the car wash. I'll do either at home with my battery powered pressure washer, or I'll do the self serve coin wash with the little brush that goes in the circle. I love those things. They're cheap. They're effective. They do way better than anything I've seen other than the washes that have actual humans scrubbing your car down. Nobody's got time for that. So we talked a lot about Redwood at the end of the show last week. Well, they have a new facility coming up in Nevada for $3.5 billion. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if it's going to be located near the original Gigafactory. Let's see. Robert says anti-EV blocking people from charging their driveway and then breaking the chargers at the shopping center. Man having anxiety trying to get to the next charger with a £1,000 towing fee. Hey. I wonder if that might be some small-minded people trying to retaliate for their high gas prices, as if the EVs had anything to do with it. You don't like to see that, and hopefully they catch these fools and get them punished, so they stop. All right, so I talked about Redwood. So this is one that Dan sent an article last week for. Yes, I know I'm not sharing anything on screen about SpaceX applying to. Here, let's share this on screen. There. So SpaceX has applied to the FCC to expand Starlink to mobile users. So I still don't think there's going to be a SpaceX phone anytime soon. Mainly because Elon was making fun of the idea of them doing phones, and they've got a lot of stuff to do before they could even approach that. Uh, but what I do see happening is, even though he said it wouldn't fit on the car, they've brought this company called Swarm. They mentioned this in the article. I have a feeling that they may start to put Starlink terminals in the cars so they can stop paying AT&T and Rogers and everyone else for their cellular connectivity. Or at least not paying them as much, because you might still need it in a tunnel or in a car park. Because if the car goes in a tunnel, Starlink doesn't work. We'll see. We'll see. I'm curious what happens with this. All right, let's get that. The Genesis GV60 is going to have free charging. I think we touched on that. And this one was kind of good news to me. U.S. solar jobs increased in 2021, and they had a little bit of a breakdown. They increased by 9%, which is not insignificant. So in 47 states, they were up by 9%, and they reached 255,000 solar workers. 89% of firms reported difficulty finding qualified applicants, and 35% said it'd be very difficult. Only 31% of entry-level solar jobs require a bachelor's degree, while 65% of firms provide on-the-job training. I'm curious what they need a degree for. I can understand an electrical license. I don't know what you would need, unless these are the engineers laying out the. You might want a degree for that to be an engineer. That would make sense. But for most of it, I don't see. You've got labor, you've got engineering, you've got electrical, and the folks that do the planning and paperwork, permits. I don't see much else that you would need. Procurement, you don't need a degree for procurement. It might be nice. Solar installation already employs more than 5 times people in coal mining. Don't let anyone who's trash clean energy forget that fact. This is true. Some people don't care about facts. uh, I wouldn't have guessed my cold northern state of Massachusetts would be number 3 to California and Florida. Seems they're much sunnier in larger states that need to get their butts in gear and more solar installed. Absolutely. Speaking of solar, it's about to rain right now, so I'm getting 0 watts from solar, but we are running on the battery. Skip that. No, let's not skip that. It is European, and some of you guys are in Europe right now. Needs to go. So Forbes has this little piece on the MG4 Mulan, which would be Europe's first really affordable mainstream EV. And MG is currently under Chinese control, but Basically, what this is another rebadge, badge engineering of the Volkswagen ID3, and I thought it looked pretty sharp. So here's the front. There's the inside. As you can tell, it very much is an ID3. And did they have a picture of the back? Yeah, there's the back. A sharp little car. What did they say the price on this thing was? So £36,000 or $43,000. $43,000 for the ID3. And this one, the MG4, is going to start at £25,000 or $30,000. Pretty respectable. And this one came up all over the place, so I just kind of had to share it. It is something that Siemens has done that my friend Wes also did. I don't know if he got any customers for his, and I did ask him if Siemens licensed or purchased it from him, and he said they did not. So either they developed this concurrently or they took it from him. I don't know what. He didn't seem upset by it, so I don't think they stole it from him. Um, it wouldn't be the first time a large corporation has done that to a small inventor, though. So what this is we call this a meter collar. So your electrician would take your meter out. They would put this collar in between, and this collar uh, is actually an EVSE. Um, on Wes's, this was more or less hardwired, but on this one, it looks like you can swap them out. He said that the one in the picture he thinks is a level 1, but his and the one that they're talking about in the article are level 2, and you can go up to 40 amps straight off the meter, and then everything else would just pass straight into your existing service. So this would be great for places like townhouses, apartments, and many multifamily, or if you have an older house that the meter happens to be near the driveway. It can save you a lot on installation, especially if you have to do a lot of retrofitting to get the EVSE installed. What EVSE is electric vehicle supply equipment. So that basically it's what we call a charger, but the charger actually lives on the vehicle. But colloquially, an EVSE is the charger. All it really is a fancy surge protector, and it does it checks the grounding and it makes sure that the car knows what kind of service it has, so it doesn't try and overload the circuit. But EVSEs are really simple, and it's crying shame they cost as much as they do because they don't do much. Your boxes are different here. I'm curious. Could you send me a picture of one? I mean, don't you'll take a picture, but like send me a link that I can look at a picture of one, please. But this is just where the service comes in. You'll have another box that has your actual circuit switches. Now I know in England you guys have a different uh, layout there, but I didn't realize that this part was different too. All right, so let's see if they have any specs on theirs. So new adapter. mm, The average age of a home in the U.S. is 40 years old, 39 years. And in the Northeast, they're over 60 years of age. When these homes were built, the demand for electrical service rarely exceeded 100 amps. So that's another thing why most of these places would require uh, re-engineering, is that they just don't have the service to add another 60 to 100 amp, depending on what kind of EVSE you're adding. Most of them will go in at 60 amps. Some will go at 40 or 30, depending on what your car can even take in. It doesn't make sense to pay extra from what the car can bring in unless you're trying to future-proof it. Like if you plan on getting a second EV, or if you plan on only keeping the one you've got for a limited amount of time. Um, like mine, I got it with an 80 amp connection because I was planning on getting the second charger for my Model S, because the older Model S's could have dual chargers. So you had two 40 amp chargers. They go on one inlet. And after the crash, I ended up using the money that I was going to use for that charger for the down payment on the Model X. So the Model X can only charge at 72 amps. So I'm a little bit oversupplied, but hopefully the Cybertruck can charge at 80 amps or more, and that won't be bad. But So what that does is you have to derate your circuit by 20% because it's a continuous load. So my circuit for that 80 amps was a 100 amp circuit, so a 200 amp house. Half of it's going into the car. Uh, it looks bad. The guy who put it in installs generators for a hardware supply company, and he's like, "Hey, you can run your whole house off of this." And he's like, "Hey, if you want, I can swing by, put a switch on here, and I can lever it to a generator or something." But I was like, I don't really need that. I've got the solar. All right, this camera's getting choppy again, so let's nuke it and bring it back and hope it picks the right camera. It does not. No, we'll flip it over because it's gonna come in upside down. Yep, there we go. Um, anyway, I thought that was pretty cool, and with the solar, all I need is some batteries, and I won't really need a. Wait, I've got batteries, so all I need to do is hook up some batteries, and I don't have to worry about taking my car charger offline to charge the house. Um, this one came up on I think What Drives Us, and it was an article from The Drive pointing out that most EV buyers in the U.S. aren't buying their cars to save the polar bears, according to Polestar, and I mean, that just goes with what I'm seeing when I survey informally drivers that I come across. Like, hey, why did you buy this? Oh, it's cheaper than gas. Hey, why did you buy this? It's clean and green, and I don't have to smell anything. Okay, why did you buy this? It's so smooth. It's luxury. And then most of them are like, oh yeah, and it saves the polar bears. But that's not like the primary reason most of them bought it. It's like an afterthought. It's like, oh yeah, this does this good thing too. Just add it to the list. It's good. Some of them buy it because it's fast. Some of them uh, they're just into the latest thing. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter really why they're doing the right thing. It's just that they're doing the right thing. But who was it? Was it Patrick or Russell? Oh, no, Russell's off. Somebody pointed out, I think it might have been Georgia, that how did it go? You're gonna run out of people who want to hug the polar bears, and and once you do that, you're not going to get to another item that came up was that EVs in the U.S. hit 5% market share finally. Um, you're going to run out of people who want to hug the polar bears, and they'll never get you to 5% doing that. So, if you have a lot of good reasons that people can do the right thing, it's a good thing. Let's see. So I think this one came from either Omar or Dan. Let me see. That one came from Dan. All right, so if I had put this one in the notes, I would have put something about space litter. Tesla is about to launch customer pictures into space on SpaceX's lunar orbiter mission. So this was a referral prize for back when Tesla was doing referral prizes, where you help your friends and neighbors buy Teslas, and they give you compensation for it. So I got an electric car charger, and what else did I get? I don't remember. I'd had to look it up. I did a video on all of them, but uh, the electric car charger was the big one. Uh, oh, sort of roundabout 2 power walls, and what else was there? I still don't have power walls in hand. We'll see if they go back on that since I became a Virginia resident for a couple of years. Um, anyway, so one of the prizes would you have your picture put into space on a rocket, and now they're finally cashing in on that. And I think the deadline was June to get your picture submitted, and then Dawood got this. I wonder what he put on his, and they launched it into space. I'm curious what kind of material they put it on. My understanding was probably glass, but we'll see. Let's see if it says August 4th. Image on the glass and send it into deep space for orbit for millions of years. Refer your friends while you wait for an alien race to discover your payload. I thought it was kind of fun, but the whole space litter concern was a concern of mine. But as we just established, Not everybody's buying these things to save the polar bears. I mean, even I didn't. Um, I've got a photo coming into space. Can you see me in the mosaic? Oh, can we? Not in the full thing. Do they highlight him in the video? So they're etching in the glass. Are they going to etch it in mono, or are they going to etch it in color? Because you can do both. It's not. I mean, you can't just etch it in color. You etch it and stain it, but still. Well, no, that's not entirely true either. If you do it with a laser and do it just right, you can actually make it appear in color. Microsoft did that with a uh, holographic storage demo they did. I want my photo to go to the sun. It started out as a glass photo and turned into sand, molten sand. All right, so we got them. And then Dan also sent us about BP opening an electric truck charging station. I didn't even read that because it came in as the show started. What's new with me reacting to articles, right? All right, so if that's the charge inlet that's too high to be MCS, or that truck is really low, but based on the trailer, it's not. But as we also saw with the MCS demo, uh, it could be lower and more to the front of the truck. All right, so they had a press release, a truck capacity of 300 kilowatts. All right, so it definitely doesn't need the megawatt charger if it's the 300 kilowatts. So that'll probably be CCS. Extended its range by around 150 to 200 kilometers during the driver's required 45-minute rest. So even the non-Tesla stops are considering that that commercial drivers, they have requirements, and Tobin says, "Just kidding, you'll never find us." Well, if I knew what the original picture looked like, I could probably deal with it. But you're right; it would be an effort to do it otherwise, especially if you guys happen to be wearing disguises or something. Let's see. So let's do a little search for CCS, but in the correct window. CCS. All right, let's do MCS. Doesn't do that either. What a lovely press release. That's what we got. I think it makes sense. Let's see. Let's pull up the notes, of which there are many. The paragraph I want to link. So this one's The Onion. So it's not news because they're parody. Let me see what happens when I open their page. I doxed myself. Oh, I remember this one. It was indeed funny. It's mostly sarcasm rather than parody in this case. And so Americans explain why they prefer gas over electric cars. And let's start the show. Let's make the window a little taller because it's not going to work. This lady in the stock photo says, "I think we're really rushing in before we even really know what electricity is." That's basically what some of the objections amount to. Irina Mooney, seamstress. Ellie Slater, interior designer. My gas car can go forward and reverse. Can electric cars do that? I mean, you get some of the strangest questions. Like Eddie's often asked if you can wash the car. Yes, you can wash the car. It's a car. It lives outside. It rains out there. Hank Garcia, lawyer. It'd be disrespectful to the troops not to use the gas they died for, and that is a little too on the money. I'm sure Patrick would appreciate this one. In fact, let me save this to send to him. Let's put it up here. Okay. Mateo Alves, personal trainer, says gas has more protein. Oh, I don't think it does, but if it did, there's actually something to it over electricity. So there's more substance there. The power strip I use for charging devices is already too crowded. Please do not charge your EV on a power strip. Oh my. Yes. Uh, Emmett Hayfield, the hot dog vendor, says it's in the Constitution. Oh man, and the anti-AV folks do believe a lot of stuff is in the Constitution that is not even close. Eddie asks, "Can you drive in the rain?" That's another one he gets. Yeah, uh, I kind of I get their thought process that electricity and water don't mix, but I don't understand why they think that a large corporation would not weatherproof their products. Oh, this one might be real. Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, says, "I'm not entirely sure Texas electricity will be around much longer." Okay, so that's not true. It's parody, but also totally true because it's true is not a true quote, but true is in like they can't handle the cold, they can't handle the heat. I'm not sure Texas's electricity will be around much longer. Very poignant. Mike Tory, Gaffer, Torque. There's either not enough or way too much. I forget. For most EVs, there are buckets of torque. However, the Toyota affiliated ones and the one I call the Camry of EVs, the Volkswagen ID3 and ID4, they are a little lighter on the torque figure, but they still have plenty. Uh, Sean Stevens, military contractor. We need a purpose to invade these Middle Eastern countries, and another one on the money. Remember, the Onion is the same folks who say, we can't believe this happens in the only country where this happens regularly, referring to the mass shootings. So they do have a little introspection. Jillian Grunberg, librarian, says, I'm waiting to skip electric and go straight to nuclear. if if we were to do the nucleon, it would not be a steam car this time around. It would be an electric car. But I mean, I can understand not wanting to spend 2 seconds of your day plugging in and out unplugging your car. But I'd much rather not spend the 30 minutes several times a week at the gas station. Okay, I know that in our video it came out to be 7, but I don't rush when I get gas. When I used to get gas, I should say. I had to check my miles. I had to wait for people in line. I had to get there. It was a bear. I had to top it off because I didn't like having air bubbles in the top of the container. Don't top off. It's bad, but that's what I did. Gary Tovar, realtor, says, I'm not really sure why, but I regard it as an existential threat to my entire way of life. Um, a lot of petrol heads are that way, but them putting it on a realtor actually also makes sense because a lot of folks do get into the wondering if urban sprawl and traffic are as necessary as we thought. Once you've decided that you would reconsider your powertrain and fuel source, it allows you to open your mind to reconsider other things as well. So you better be scared, Mr. Tovar, especially if all you sell is houses without charge points. Not the brand, but the EVSEs. Michael Worth, CEO of Chevron. All right, let's see if this is real or a fake. What's not to love about gas? Everybody loves gas. I'm actually married to gas. I have 6 beautiful gas children. Buy more gas. Okay, so it's a parody quote. James Farah, small business owner. I'm not sure electric cars will blow up as cool in movies. This is true, but I mean, real cars don't blow up this way either. So I bet you that they still blow the electric cars up like that when they do blow them up. Gus Tanner, HR manager. Talking about gas prices with people makes me feel like I'm part of something. Oh, this one is on the money because uh, people always tell me, oh, blah, blah, gas prices. And before recent times, I would say, my response is always, is that high? Because there's only 2 reasons people are talking to you about gas prices. A, it just went up again, or B, can you believe this deal I got? I'm like, no. Is that high? Because I am blind to the stations as I pass them. Like when we were at the apartment, there was a station at the corner, and I didn't even know it till we were moving out that there was a station on the corner that we were on. and obviously now at $4, $5, $10 a gallon, I know that's high, but man, this is on the nose as well. Uh, uh, goes also with our whole my argument against working in the office if you don't have to. Still the inane water cooler chat. Uh, Nuncio Quintero, pediatric nurse. Oh, it's quite sad. Harris Silver, Cobbler, uh, electricity? Sounds like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me. Susan Park, accountant. My job is 40 miles away, and I don't own an extension cord that long. I've been told this one before. Like, hey, are you gonna just unspool some wire behind you? Like, no, that's what the battery is for. So it says Texas didn't weatherproof their grid, which is their problem. It wasn't summer proofed or winter proofed. It only does great in the spring and the fall. 13 pounds a gallon now. That's high. That's very high. Darren Adams, carpenter, says the toxic waste from the batteries is nice, but electric cars have a long way to go before they'll match the destructive power of gas vehicles. All right, so this is true. This is totally true. All the people you hear complaining about, oh, what about the batteries? What about the batteries? Okay, so what if there is something there? I mean, so you have a problem with doing less just because it's not perfect? Don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. Do something instead of continuing to do terrible. I love this one. Robert's cooking gluten-free, organic, vegan chicken and chips now. Sounds delicious. Nathan Thrall Welder says they aren't reliable like OPEC and Saudi royal family. I think they added some slides since I viewed this one. Comedic gold, that one. Darren Hammond, store clerk, says you can't huff electricity more than once. Luke Caden, teacher. Oh wait, you know what? Let's go back. So the people doing he says it like this, but there are so many people who tell me, "Oh, I'm gonna miss the smell of gasoline," or "I love the smell of gasoline." I'm like, what? I've never liked the smell of gasoline, even when I was a kid. Timothy says this is a great segment, Casey. Myths about EVs. Good vibes, good vibes. Yeah, I like this one, and I hope they do more because this is fun. Um, and it's just weird coming from the Onion of all places, rather than like it's not coming from an EV site or anything. So Luke Caden, teacher, here in New Jersey, they won't let you plug in your own car. All right, so this one is based on New Jersey being the only place left in the states that requires full self service. You're not allowed to plug in your own car. If you try, they will come at you, and it's not pleasant. And I got out of the car once for something. It wasn't to get gas, and no, I was rolling the window down, and the guy thought I was getting out, and he accosted me. And I was like, no, no, just letting you know, I need premium in this thing because it was a Volt, and um, yeah. So then later in, I don't know if it was the Model S or the Model X. I would say probably the Model X because I was already doing this YouTube channel. And I asked the clerk, I said, the attendant, whatever you call the people who actually fill the gas up, I said, well, how come you don't have to do my electric car? And his response is, there's no money in it. And I was like, wow. So the truth comes out. It's not about safety and all that other BS they tell you about why you can't pump your own gas. Although, if you look at the MSDS, the Material Safety Data Safety Sheet for gasoline, it's some nasty stuff in liquid form and gaseous form before you even burn it. So the joke is there that it should be like gas, and the reality is that it's not. Thank goodness I was in my. All right, I'll wait for the rest of the thought to come across. Uh, let's go on to the next one. This is a family show. Mitch Gilly, foreman. if I have to use my car to go about my awful life every day, I can at least take the rest of the planet down with me. And this is another part of that mindset of it's like, hey, you know, screw you guys, I got mine. I'm cutting the rope ladder behind me. Have a nice fall. Uh, it's like the people who say, I had to suffer, so you whippersnappers should suffer too. I was like, what? You don't want your children to have a better life than you did without having to go through a lot of rigmarole that's just pointless? Come on now. Patron, geologist. I have an alliance with the Saudis. Henry Dalton, cook. I've been complaining about high gas prices for the past 35 years. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I stopped. That goes back to what I was saying earlier, where when people tell me about gas, I'm like, I did not say, okay, gee, stop trying to do stuff. I wasn't talking to you. Why would you think that? The Google Assistant heard me talking. And anyway, so it goes back to what I was saying about people complaining about gas prices and my not knowing if they were high or not. Because usually the reason is that it's higher than normal. So that's why my question is always, is that high? And then if I'm wrong, they'll say, no, I got this great deal. Oh, okay. Yeah, $3 a gallon is a great deal. All right. All right, almost done. Hasakan, accountant. I'm worried we'll deplete the Earth's finite supply of electricity. Oh, you see this a lot too. People who are afraid of stuff that gas will do, and they're trying to translate it to electricity. And we're done. All right, so let's go back to the notes here. So the onion. And go here. Okay, it didn't dox me. Go here. GMC Hummer EV extract mode raises the truck 6 inches, coming via software update video. So the Hummer already has crab mode and uh, an off-road mode, but this new off-road extract mode will push it up even higher so that you can get yourself out of a bind. Let's see if the video I think was just full of music because it's a GM video. So we'll mute that and then we'll continue on. Yep. All right, so they see a rock. The cameras tell them it won't make it, so they go into this new extract mode, which is coming via software update, and then they just drive over the rock. I love how all of the demos for this vehicle are all just like just barely beyond the edge of its capabilities, so they can be like, "Oh, hey, now we need to go diagonally. Oh, we need to raise it up just a little bit more." It's like, how will this thing do in the real world? I can't wait to see what some of the off-road people feel about it when they get the chance. Da, da, da. This one. Ah, EVAX, Morgan Olson, and REE Automotive share a live demo of the Proxima electric van. As you guys know, I've been on a kick for EV vans in the last month or two. Because I seem to think that I'll make a camper, and I think that we can. The hard part will be finding a vehicle and also making a small house in the back. Oh, wow. That's gross. When I was laughing, I spit on the monitor. All right, so let's look at the video. Well, first, before we look at the video, one thing I wanted to point out, this thing's got rear steering, which I like for these longer vehicles. Makes them a little more nimble. And I think it was any specs on this thing. It's a collaboration with Hino Motors, Hitachi, and a whole bunch of companies are making this van. But look how long that is. And where? Yeah, that was a recent one. Uh, Give me the video. All right, here it is. All right, there we go. Got the music. All right, so there it is. It's I think it's able to do both directions of the counter steer and the same direction steer, so it'll help with changing lanes, parallel parking, and tight turns. So here's the Proxima. Class 2B to 6. So the one they're showing is one of the bigger ones, but it comes smaller as well. 8,000-pound payload, 75-mile-per-hour top speed, which is plenty. Fully electric, zero emissions. Groundbreaking, innovative walk-in step fan. It's got that nice aerodynamic front. All-wheel steer and all-wheel drive. I don't know why you would make an EV today with more than one motor that isn't all-wheel drive. It's got a really tight turning radius. It almost seems that the rear turns more than the front. At least in forward, anyway. In reverse, it seems pretty normal with the slightly turning in the rear. Efficient docking. Urban parking capabilities. All right, so it doesn't look like it does the what GM calls crap walk. All that glass, you don't have to worry about a blind spot. It's got optimized ergonomics. I was just watching a video from Integrated Digital Infrastructure. I was just watching Monroe Live regarding the Amazon van with Rivian, and they put a lot of work into that van as well. It's got air seats. It's got again with the ergonomic factors, and he pointed out something like he's just said it so fast in passing. I didn't even realize. Because remember, I worked for Amazon for a little bit, and it was about the 3 points of touch when you're moving, and like it took me back a little bit, and then but they designed the van to also follow that mantra. All right, so let's see. Some big news here is that Herbert Diess is no longer in at Volkswagen. I don't know if we talked about this at the end of the last show or not. Excuse me. I think we did, because I talked about how I think that he may pop up at Tesla, and got a couple articles on that this week. So I'm curious now how Volkswagen does now that they don't have as strong a champion for electrification and changing up their process and not continuing to do things the way we always have done them, but with electricity. So I wish them luck, but I just don't have a feeling that they are setting themselves up for a good place unless they have somebody who's going to replace the guy who replaces him. So right now, the CEO of Porsche, who's taking it through their IPO, he's going to also be the CEO of Volkswagen, and good luck. We're all going to need it. Startle me. Wow, Zachary, thank you very much. Let's see here. My weekly contribution to the best renewable energy transportation show. I missed my support a couple times. I love watching it through the week. Thank you very much. Right, so this one here is titled "The Awesomely Weird Alibaba EV of the Week." Move over to Tesla Semi. I want to buy this electric big rig. So this segment is usually cars and trucks under $10,000. That is not the case here. It's quite pricey, but it seems to do the trick. So let's see with the price and specs. It's got good specs too. It's Chinese, and you can order them on Alibaba, and you can get a discount if you order 3 of them. Was it 3 or 30? I'd have to go back to the comments to see. Let's see. Much like the smaller car, blah blah. All right, this thing's loaded with all the best features. There's seating for 2 and even a sleeper bed. So I don't think that any of the other EV trucks stateside have a sleeper cab. So you can camp out and save money on motels. The 6-speed automatic transmission, electronic stability control. I don't know why he says whatever that is, being a car blogger. And even air conditioning. The air conditioning type is listed as manual, which myself and a couple of commenters seem to think it means that you just pick, like the dials. You don't pick a temperature. You have to I want some more cold. I want some more heat, and then I want this much fan. Um, Not that you're cranking the AC. This is on the power side. It's perhaps the biggest motor ever to grace a vehicle in this column. Yeah, because they're usually little bike motors, and this one is. Um, Even so, it doesn't seem quite so big when you consider that this behemoth is meant to pull. 230 kilowatt motor is surely still steady, though to slowly lug you up to an undisclosed top speed. So they don't tell you how fast it is. 230 kilowatts is, I think that's the power of my front motor on the Model X. Because when I look at the display, the last number on the display is 450 kilowatts, and it can go past that. And the Raven can do more than that, and the Plaid just blows us both out of the water. Are you changing diapers? I was like, I smell chemicals. It was the hand wash or the wipes, one or the other. The 281 kilowatt hour battery pack is apparently good enough for 200 kilometers or 120 miles of range. Somehow that doesn't feel like a full day of trucking, but we'll cross that interstate bridge when it gets there. But as Dan and I pointed out, if you are matching your workload to the vehicle's capabilities, that 120 miles, even when you cut out a little bit for wintertime, might be more than sufficient for something that doesn't actually leave the port or just goes around town, like say delivering Pepsi and bread. Uh, the other thing to point out though is that if this thing could fast charge, depending on again what type of loads this thing is doing, assuming it's a local truck, although don't know why you need a sleeper cab for a truck with 120-mile range. Um, Depending on what you do, if it can fast charge, that could take care of a lot as well. Let's see if it can fast charge. So there's the sleeper cab. It's enough to get you a little nap on. But you know what though? Even if it can't go far, um, say you have to wait in line at the port for 12 hours. Okay, I doubt you wait in line that long, but say it's extended and you don't want to keep your clock running. You just kick your feet up back there and surf the web on your iPad. Let's watch a movie. Um, Take a nap. I don't know. I think they're onto something there. I'm struggling with a way to justify buying this thing until as today. I didn't realize I had an electric tractor shaped hole in my heart. I have absolutely zero use for this thing, but has never stopped me from buying an electric truck from China before. This is true. He did buy one at a price of just $78.88 for this awesome electric truck. I'm not sure who is going to murder me first, my wife or my accountant. Perhaps it's better if I leave the semi-trucks to professionals and stick to my lighter EVs. I'm not looking forward to taking that commercial driver's license course anyway. Now, once Tesla gets their supply line back in check, I do believe that the Tesla Semi with much more range was not much more money than this. Let's go to the comments and see what your multi-discount was. All right, so it talks about his other, you can get a full-size submarine. I didn't realize you could get a submarine from Alibaba. That's kind of cool. So I marked out some of the comments, I think. It looks like the Dongfeng heavy truck with swappable battery. So that was another way, like with the 120-mile range, you don't even need quick charge if you can just, like if you're in a port, they just change out your batteries regularly. That's kind of pretty cool. And it reminds me of the concrete trucks with the swappable batteries. Great thing to electrify. I'd seen something like this before. Perhaps it's a copy of it. Yeah, that's true. China does copy stuff. You buy from every manufacturer an electric semi, and Dongfeng is one of the biggest after Daimler, VW, and Volvo. So this is, if it's them, this is a really good deal, apparently. If it's a copy of them, then it's, buyer beware. They talked about the manual AC. Somebody talked about the discount. This guy's getting technical that, when you're just looking at the tractor, that's not a tractor trailer. Just Control F on a discount. Or Command F. Are you serious right now? I don't have. Let me lock this thing and unlock it. All right. I still don't have a. Seriously? Occasionally, my keyboard just doesn't work in the. You know what? I wonder if my keyboard's even on at all. Yes, it is. Um, Sometimes I have to unplug it or replug it. Let's try. Can I right click and find on page? Is that an option? No, it's not. Let's put it over here. That whole window is just done. Let's close it, open up a new one, see if I can't use this one. Ah, good. All right, so go to the comments. Command F. Just multiple. All right, so multiple shows up 3 times. Multiple drivers, but nothing about how many. Try 3, 7. Goodbye. That was a bad choice. All right, so there was a volume discount if you want to order several of these things, but as the author of the piece says, that's kind of pricey for anybody who's not in that business, of course. All right, so now we've got something from Baidu. Fussy baby, fussy baby. I'm gonna share this screen. There we go. So Baidu has unveiled the Apollo RT6 Level 4 autonomous robotaxi with a detachable steering wheel. So as our friend Travis says, that well, I'll be rolling in bread boxes eventually. And he says that as a way of describing the shape of what all these cars will be. They'll all be commodity vehicles. Baby is upset. Yeah, if you get her diaper changed, I don't understand. Like she cries through all of it until it's done. It's like you don't want to you're open now. You know we're working on it. You're not good. She doesn't care until it's done. All right, so this one isn't quite bread boxy. It still looks like a car. The interesting thing is that the steering wheel is detachable, and that they claim level 4 capability. So we'll see what happens when it comes time to actually bring it to market. Keyboard and mouse are still messed up. I shouldn't have to double click these things. Oh, the keyboard's working. The keyboard sometimes is the mouse. Anybody who tells you Macs are perfect is a liar. They are good at some stuff, though. All right, so this one, I don't know, Dan sent it to me too. Sono Motors, they they have unveiled the production version of their Scion Solar EV. Only reason I even bring this up is because it doesn't look like a science fair project anymore. They are one of the manufacturers that's putting solar in the vehicle, but they're putting it on every panel, and their prototype looked like hot garbage. And this doesn't look so bad. I wish them luck. Let's see. Zachary says my Tesla oil Tesla investment is up 50% in the last month. We have to recycle some of these dirty cash. I agree. This Friday, I bought my second Model 3. My immediate family is 100% electric. Boom, baby. Do it. And my brother has announced that he bought 2 EVs as well. He bought a Tesla Model X and a Tesla Model 3. on the secondhand market. So reduce, reuse, and recycle. So they are now gas free. My new Model 3 is much more refined compared to my older one, 2018. Awesome. So did you get the new one and then send the other one off to family, or that's what it sounds like? That's what I'm gathering there. But if you did, that's great. That's great. All right, so that's Sono Motors. That's all I wanted to say was that it looks better. Um, all right, so I had mentioned that the price of a Tesla battery was down to $9,000 for a Model 3 long range. Now it's back up to $12,000. It's still cheaper than the $20,000 that Rich Rebuild's customer was quoted, so they're still going in the right direction. But I'm guessing that something happened to to get the price to go back up. Um, Somebody else pointed out that it was $10,000 if you included labor, but I'm not, because if you're quoting people the price of the battery, you're not quoting them labor. Um, Typically, because battery's expensive enough as it is. Da, 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 da. This one, as we all keep saying on this show and others, if you see something you want from Tesla, just get it, because the price could go up, price could go down. So Tesla to increase the price of the FSD beta software beyond its $12,000 price tag. So Elon has said that they're going to raise the price again soon. He hasn't mentioned if they're going to do the subscription price, but he has said in the past that that will go up. The question is when and how much. So apparently $12,000 isn't enough. I'm constantly struggling with this because it seems that the capabilities of the system are lagging beyond the price of what they're charging for it. But by the time it reaches where you're comfortable, so like right now it's $12,000. I bought it for what, 5,000, 3,000. No, I didn't buy it for 3,000. I was mad that other people got it for 3,000. So I paid 5,000, $8,000 for it, somewhere in between there. And it is just now feeling like it's worth that. Um, but it does not feel like it's worth $12,000 yet. But at the next step, when they get it up to what, 15, 30, whatever, then it will feel to me, probably, if they continue improving like they have been, that they've caught up to the current price, and then it'll be. Uh, I don't think it'll probably be worth what they're charging for it on the same day until the thing is fully ready. But man, if the reason I put these two articles back to back is if the battery costs $9,000 or $10,000 or 12, that's cheaper than FSD. So, uh, how much is this thing going to cost when it's done? What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. How much do you think the full ready price of FSD, how much is Tesla going to rise it up to for monthly and for one-time purchase? I'm feeling 25 to $50,000 easy, if not more than the price of the whole car today. And that's again fully done. Smart auto summon, smart reverse. They call it reverse summon. Smart auto park, as Elon calls it, and you know, touchless. Like you don't have to hold the wheel. All of that, just point to point. I think that'll be anywhere from 50 to $200,000. I know that's a wide spread, but this is Tesla we're talking about. So what do you guys think? And pop it in the chat. I'll put your comments on the screen. Um, if you're watching the replay, put it in the comments, and I'll bring them up on the next show. Yeah, so price is about to go up. If you're interested in it and you can afford it, get it now. If you're going to do the month to month, I wouldn't subscribe to it because it doesn't lock in your subscription price, which would have been a really nice gesture. Like, hey, if you could subscribe for $199 a month, he raises it to $500 a month, and you could just keep doing that as long as your credit card is good. I think that would be a good gesture from the company, but I do not see them doing that because he said they won't. All right, so we talked about U.S. solar jobs increasing. This one is interesting to me. Now, lithium isn't the only component, but as Elon pointed out, getting refined lithium is getting harder. Getting lithium itself, super easy, but getting it, refined and battery grade is a bit tougher. So GM has secured a long-term supply of lithium from Livent, and cathodes from LG for 1 million EVs. Not bad. Although, Mary, you can't lead from behind. A million EVs is behind what Tesla is doing today. And to lead, you have to beat Tesla and a bunch of other people. Come on, Mary. Mary led. All right, so this is more of a press release. Let's see what the comments say about this thing. Good to see legacy OEM focused on battery supply chain, starting to lower the level of doubt that they can dramatically grow their EV production. I mean, if they can get the components, we know they can build cars. The question is, are they going to build it well, or are they going to just slap it together and make new ones every year, slightly tweak? And if they don't have their own battery factory, can they get the cars built? Because if you don't have the parts, you can't make the car. Expected EV output in 2025. BYD 5 million, Tesla 4.6 million, VW 3 million, GM 1 million, Ford 600. What? Why? Ford should be ahead of GM. They already are. Uh, GM took a little tumble with the Bolt. Let's see what this guy's talking about. His 600. I'm wondering if he meant 600 million or 600,000. Because Ford keeps selling out. Yeah, they will. All right, so this guy thinks the Chinese will grab a foothold. So either the Chinese or the new American ones, although Tesla isn't that new of a car company, they're actually I think the second oldest at this point because the way that Chrysler and GM keep running out of money. But, I'm thinking like Rivian and the other U.S. ones, but the Chinese they probably have a chance. Um, People here don't want FSD with all the features locked. People tend to stick with what the brands they know, and that is a bit of a problem. You need to overcome the inertia. And in your case, in Europe, they need to make it not be terrible because I would not pay $12,000 for European FSD as it sits today. It's not worth it. And remember, this is part of the reason that enhanced autopilot came back is because people wanted to be able to buy something they felt was worth the money, and so they brought back enhanced autopilot for $6,000, which isn't terrible. It's higher than it was. It's $1,000 higher than it used to be, but it's also more capable than before. Like you've got the green light chime now. It does a better job of staying in the lanes. They're working on the phantom braking. In fact, it's pretty much solved on FSD. So once they move that programming over to the public builds, you'll be fine. Um, I couldn't tell anybody in Europe go spend $12,000 and it'll get better. If your laws catch up and they unrestrict some of the stuff that the car used to be able to do when you bought it new and now it can't, then that would be a goodwill gesture to say, hey, it's okay and go ahead and buy this thing. I hope what they do is they just kind of keep the European one at the same level, both price and capabilities, and then they give you guys a chance to buy it at today's price before they get silly with it because um, this is assuming that that they are able to convince the politicians to fix it. Um, like, hey, we fixed it. Here's a month to see what it can do now, and it'll be 12,000 pounds, 12,000 euros, and then in 1 month it'll be whatever new price is. You've been warned. I think that would be the best way to do it. And in fact, even better if they also do a month trial of it after they get it fixed legally, for you guys to see what you're getting into. I think that would be a good. Of course, this is Tesla we're talking about, so doing the right thing by the customer response might not happen. You'll see an article we have coming up where it took a social media campaign to get them to do the right thing in a little bit. Uh, Sometimes they can't get out of their own way. I think they need more diversity in leadership so they can understand uh, how some of the stuff they do comes off. But they're not actively evil, so I don't hold that against them. So Volkswagen has started production of the ID4 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, adding over 1,000 new jobs. The German automaker has announced the start of its all-electric ID4 SUV at the facility in Chattanooga. Began in late 2020 in Europe. Yep. Uh, They originally promoted the EV for the millions, not the millionaires. That's kind of why I'm able to call this thing the Camry of EV, is because it's inexpensive, it's well built, it's not fast, it's not flashy, it's just good solid car. And then now Toyota actually has one, but they managed to not be as good as this, which is disappointing. Uh, for North American customers, however, it's remained an import until now. What day did they start this thing? Okay, so they're going to make 7,000 EVs per month. That's respectable. It's a start. It's very respectable when you consider that that GM hasn't touched that level yet. Oh boy! So the $800 million investment in Chattanooga, so 1,000 jobs, almost $1 billion. This is good stuff. ID4 remains the bestseller in EVs to date. For who? For them, I assume. 190,000 delivered around the world to date. That's pretty good. And as production begins in the States, Volkswagen plans to reach an output of 7,000 ID4s per month later this year. So they're going to ramp it as well. They will continue to ramp through 2023, at which point they'll be doing how many? The 7,000 or something higher? Doesn't say. It's not an ugly car either. I see them on the road around here, and I like them. Just not for me personally. Does it have a frunk, or does it have a teeny tiny little like file cabinet space? All right, so they currently employ more than 4,000 people in Chattanooga, and in the process of hiring 1,000 new people. So it'll be 5,000 people. Meanwhile, Rivian is having to fight farmers who don't like Rivian because they don't even know what it is. We need jobs, but we don't want them. So we can expect to see U.S. built ID4s as early as October. Well, that's not a bad lead time. That's a pretty quick turnaround. They're going to be the rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive versions equipped with the 82 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Rear-wheel drive versions ID4 with a smaller 62 kilowatt-hour battery pack will start later this year, and that just makes sense. If you only make one battery pack, it's a lot less to because you got to get it ramped, you got to get everybody trained, you got to get everybody smooth before you start adding in a whole bunch of different variants. And so this is a good way to start. Plus, uh, if you start with the expensive one, you can make more money to afford to build the cheaper one here in the States. That's really cool stuff. I'm also wondering now that since they have this whole electric platform at Volkswagen, does that mean that the U.S. based ID Buzz, the new Volkswagen van that we haven't seen the U.S. trim yet, is that one going to be built in the States? Because that'll get them around the chicken tax, and they now have a facility that's already building almost the same vehicle, but now they just need to make it into a minivan. All right, so let's see what the comments are on this thing. Robert says the people's car. This is true. And now my mouse doesn't want to work in the. Oh boy. Will the trackpad work? Is the next question. I don't think it will. Oh, it does. Sort of. We'll see when I need to click on something. First time real volume competitions coming specifically to US, yes. Technically the Mustang Mach-E would qualify, but it's made in Mexico. And they had to send a majority of their production to the EU to satisfy their CO2 equipment emissions, yes. This factory, however, is just for the US market, as the EU market already has their own factory making ID4. For context, Tesla sold 361,000 cars in the US in 2021. Correction, the expected volume for the ID4 plant is only said to be 120,000 per year when scaled fully. However, it does not say anything about the volume for other MEB-based cars and the ID Buzz, which is the one I was also asking about, the van. So 120,000 cars to 600,000 cars. So that's why I was saying when they said, oh, it's the most blah, 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 the most according to who? Just this one manufacturer? Everyone whose name doesn't start with T? So the scale is like this. The plan has been designed for 150,000 cars per year and operating under that limit since 2012, mostly making Passat and Atlas. the refurbishment to MEB is expected to have 100,000, 200,000 capacity just for ID4 and variants, not including the ID Buzz. Oh, okay, that's cool. So that means that the bus will add to it. At the same time, VW investments statements talk about doubling production capacity in the existing plant to 300,000, timeline unclear, and then additionally setting up a second plant next to the existing one to bring the full capacity of VW Chattanooga to 600,000 units per year. Again, unclear timeline. Supported by a dedicated battery factory. That is pretty cool. With an output of 600,000 packs. So whole packs, enough to keep the factory running at full speed throughout the year. That's good. Still super low numbers, but that is good. Sycamore has a capacity of 330,000 units per year, but operates on 3 shifts. Chattanooga operates on 10-hour shifts. So the 120,000 sounds like VW is operating a single 10-hour shift. Oh, so they could just add more shifts and improve it. That's cool. Volkswagen should be able to afford to add a second 10-hour shift to double production on the existing line. That's cool. Unless they change it again, they run 2 shifts there. Okay. That's still not bad. 2 shifts, they could add a third if they needed to. Selling 600,000 units per year in the US would make VW a big player in the market. It would completely shift the car market landscape, especially if Toyota continues to take its time to transition. That's what I keep saying. Toyota, you dropped the ball. Even GM and Ford appear to have the speed in forced comparison. Currently, VW sells 360,000 units per year in the US alone. Okay, so, well, don't forget we're all switching to electric, so don't worry about the fossils. So that's actually a really good data point. So they plan to do more or the same as in electric as they do today in everything in the US. So these numbers aren't really all that small. He's got a point when you consider what they actually do today. David says, still looking for VW to really be all in, especially post CEO. Yes, I don't know where they're going to be with the new Porsche guy or with. Let me lock and relock this thing. Okay, there we go. This feels really weird not to be able to put your guys' comments on screen. Uh, so I hope it goes well for them. I really do. I mean, from what we saw with DC, he got it. He understood that he had to redo the business. You had to go EV, and you had to not worry about hurting people's feelings. I mean, he wasn't necessarily going out to make people mad, but he understood that to survive, they had to do certain things, and we'll see if that's part of what the family didn't like about it. That's part of what the current management didn't like about it. So we'll see if they keep their act together and then continue on the right track. I mean, there's going to be a certain amount of inertia from like once you've invested in a battery plant, invested in a car factory, and a second one to accompany it. There's a certain amount you're going to do and you're going to do right, but will they keep it up? Oh, this is a fun one. Paste and go. And I need to hit share screen again. And this one. California governor calls for massive 20 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2045. This is huge. The current offshore wind targets are 15 gigawatts installed by 2045 and 20 by 2050. And to put that into national context, the current administration has a target of 30 gigawatts of offshore wind for 2030 for the entire country. So they plan to do more than the entire country. No, 20 by 2045. And so they plan to do a significant portion of the whole country on time. That's impressive. And the beauty of offshore wind is all the people say, oh, the windmills give me headaches. I don't like the shadows, blah, blah, blah. They kill the birds, whatever their excuses are. Almost all of that goes out of the window if they're really tall, outside of the flight path of the birds, and you can't see them. You don't have to worry about if you think they're ugly or not. You don't have to worry about if you can hear them or not because you can't hear them because they're miles off to sea. So I think this is good. Although if California does that by themselves, then the rest of the states will need to step up. And Texas. Woes continue for Faraday Future as Faraday Future's FF91 production launch delays the production launch to seek additional capital. I don't know if this company's going to make it. I mean, it looks cool. I've got a free reservation for one. If they ever survive, I probably won't buy it because I think it was what, a $300,000 car. I just put it in because it was free, and I wish them luck, but it doesn't look good continually. Tesla launching a new shareholder platform to manage their large investor base. So it's kind of based off of Say, kind of based off of like they're doing their own thing. You can link it up to your Tesla account, and they plan to do more with it in the future. So if you're a Tesla shareholder, uh, I would put the link to this article in the chat. Follow the link to the Tesla page, and link your stuff up. So that way, in the future, when Tesla does stuff with this platform, you can vote. Uh, DJ Clay asks, any update announced on enhanced autopilot? They didn't announce an end date, but this is Tesla we're talking about. You'll wake up one day thinking, "Oh, I was going to buy this today," and it's gone. So, if you've got it now, swipe that card. If you don't have it now, aggressively save towards it and then get it because uh, just like everything else with Tesla, if you want it now, get it now. They may drop the price in the future. They probably won't. Usually, what they do is just cancel stuff you like. So the other cool thing about having enhanced autopilot is it reduces your cost of entry to full self-driving. So those folks in Europe, uh, I can feel comfortable telling you that I think it's a good idea to get EAP, enhanced autopilot. But in the States, if you're interested in it, make it a priority if it's something you're interested in, because when they raise the price for full self-drive from 12,000, if they don't cancel EAP again, they will raise the price of EAP as well. So if it's something you want, make it a priority to save for it and grab it. Or if you got it, just get it. That's all I can say. Uh, so many things they cancel that everybody likes. Obviously not enough. Oh, we figured enough people weren't using lumbar, so we canceled lumbar. That's a Cybertruck electric pickup surprises and aerodynamic performance simulation. So this one was kind of cool to me. I knew it would do well just because it isn't shaped like a fist, but I did also, as I had this thing set as my desktop background for 6 months, so I could get more used to the shape of the daggum thing. It's not pretty by any means, but it's a lot more acceptable to me now. I was noticing that the peak, it kind of looked a little bit like my Prius with that boat tail, um, or what they call the camback. I'm curious, one, how this thing will do with the vault open. The vault is what they call the bed when it's closed up. But when the tonneau cover is retracted, I'm curious if it does better, the same, worse than a traditional pickup truck. Because I have a feeling there'll be a lot of people driving with it open, even if there's nothing inside that needs it to be open. All right, so they've got some video here, and what really surprised them was one, how good it was, and two, this fender trim, which I hate on all SUVs and trucks. It it's one of their worst parts for the aerodynamics. And then they noted that the air doesn't actually stay laminated to the back; it actually detaches. But because of the way it's shaped, it actually doesn't hurt them. It actually flows the correct way. It's just no longer connected because of the shape of the peak. So let's look at their video here. That's pretty slippery. They really got to do something about those sides. Hopefully they've cleaned it up a little bit in the production version. So this is somebody did it on one of the prototypes. And then is this the same video that I saw? No, it's not. Wait, maybe it is. Different length than the one I saw. So they're just pointing out the hot spots. All right, so let's see. The positive aspects of the design from the study, contrary to what you may think, the sharp edge of the roof does not produce a big detachment. The flow is not attached, but in fact, the air follows down the slope quite seamlessly. The boundary layer does not substantially grow. This is quite remarkable and a big aerodynamic advantage compared to other pickup trucks. Moreover, the diffuser makes a substantial effect in the center of the vehicle's rear end. It creates suction and reduces the wake. That's pretty cool. You saw room for improvement. The car shows clear turbulent structures on the front edge, which connects the bumper to the bonnet, and the vertical edge right behind the front lights. The wheel arches, protectors surrounding the edge geometry, rim styling, and geometry of the A-pillar and C-pillar. The generation of turbulent structures is caused by the sharpness of these edges. These geometrical features increase the drag of the vehicle, which ultimately reduces the range of the Cybertruck. Furthermore, the sharp rear end flow instantly detaches and creates a considerably big low-energy area or wake, mostly notable behind the top and rear uh, end edges. So I think they could probably smooth this out a little bit, still make it look brutalist, but not be as bad for the aerodynamics. This area, people kept complaining about, what about pedestrians? What about pedestrians? Um, so if they make it easier on pedestrians, I think that will also help the aerodynamics. But what they showed us is not final. It is final now, but we won't see that probably until the key handoff party, where the first 30 to 100 people get to go to Giga Texas and pick up their trucks, or the first 30 to 50 people that work at Giga Texas get to pick up their trucks at the party, whichever. Let's see. Tesla could manage to bring down the coefficient of drag to 30 with some improvements, which would be amazing for a pickup truck. This guy's being pedantic about the way they phrased it, just like when they say earthquakes on the Richter scale. It's not on the Richter scale anymore. It's just the earthquake scale. Um, so that one's not as useful. People arguing about pickup trucks, they could be better. All right, come on. Jay Clay says, "Ouch!" and it's on my list. I agree. It is pricey. So I was talking about bad customer service at Tesla occasionally. Like I said, they don't always get it right. The communication is their weak spot throughout the whole company. It happened again here. So Tesla had a customer that bought a used Model S 90D, and this 90D started its life out as a Model S 60D, and the battery got replaced under warranty. Tesla forgot to lock the battery back down to be a 60 again, and then everything was fine for years. The car was resold twice. The third owner decided it was going to replace the MCU with MCU 2 because why would you pay full price for MCU 1 if you're out of warranty? And Tesla had trouble getting the new MCU to take because the auditor system that Tesla uses, it didn't know the car was running around as a 90. So uh, after the guy gets home, Tesla says, "We push one more update. You should be good to go." He gets home, he pushes update now, and when the reboot finishes and the car is good to go, he sees on the screen it says 60D, and he's like, "What the heck? I bought a 90D. It's been a 90D for years. Tesla's the one who did this. It wasn't a hack. What are you doing?" They said, "Oh, give us $4,500 and it'll be back to normal." And the guy gets pissed, obviously, because you know Tesla's the one who changed the car to a 90D, they didn't tell the original owner, "Hey, this is only for the length of your ownership," to uh, to apologize for the inconvenience of having to do this procedure, blah blah blah. The comments got really weird. A lot of people assumed that one of the two owners was a scammer and was doing this on purpose. Uh, I don't know if they understood that Tesla did battery upgrades. You could pay to upgrade your battery. You could pay to unlock it. And at any time that your battery config didn't match like on the back of the car, it says 60D Model S 40, whatever. If you'd unlocked it, they would swap your badge out next time you're in for anything for service. They'd be like, "Oh, here's a 90," and that happened. So it's not like the guy was trying to defraud anybody. And after a big social media outcry, Tesla finally did the right thing here and gave the guy back his 80 miles. And they also did the same for another customer that they did something similar to. Gave him back or in the process of giving him back his 80 miles as well. And a lot of times, this company, they don't know what's going on with the left hand and the right hands. And you'd think it might be easier. Omar's pointed out that they can't call themselves. Like, we can't call them. They can't call each other. Uh, communication is one of their weak points, and they need to continue to work on it. And they need to constantly ask themselves, is this right for the customer? And then work from that premise. Don't worry about, hey, Elon needs said to make every penny I can. Yes, find a way to do that, but don't be a jerk about it. I mean, is $4,500 every now and then going to kill the company? No, it won't. And like, if they come back to the original owner within a month or so, I've been like, whoops, we forgot to lock it. It's locked now. Have a nice day. That's fine. But you don't come back 3 years later and say, hey, this is ours now. No. Especially, like, he wasn't in for more battery work. He was in for a completely unrelated part. One of the examples that was given was, say you come in for work on your diesel truck, and they put in a turbocharger, bigger engine, and they forgot to lock it down, because or a bigger fuel tank, and they forgot to lock it down, and then you come in for a flat tire, and then they take your engine out and hold it ransom. You need to give us $2,000 more to get this big engine back. No. And I mean, it all ended well, but man, was it a controversy this week, and boy, could they have done better. So Jason Hughes is the one who had to help get this all fired up, because the owner came to him and said, hey, what happened? He looked at the logs. He saw that this was all Tesla that did it. There was nobody else in there changing stuff. I don't know if there's anybody else in there looking at stuff. There's nobody else in there changing stuff but Tesla. You can see from the logs. And it says 90D. It's badge 90D. Has a 90 type range. And he went in for the MCU2 upgrade after the 3G shutdown. So he was in there because the car couldn't talk. And here's Omar. Omar, what is your opinion on this controversy?
So this is on the battery, the 60 battery that he got swapped for the 90, right?
Well, the original owner got swapped. Then the car got sold twice. Then he came in for MCU2 upgrade, the new owner. And eventually, while the car was home and they were diagnosing why the computer wasn't working right, they downgraded him to a 60.
Right. So the problem with that whole scenario is, number one, like, so the original owner, he had a 60. He then, he had his battery replaced. They gave him a 90, and then the original owner rebadged it, sold the car as a 90. Because he realized
we don't know that he rebadged it or that Tesla did, because if you come in for another service and Tesla sees it's a 90, like the car's reporting 90 and they see 60 on the back, they'll swap the badge out on their own without asking you.
Oh, so we don't even know if he did it or if Tesla did it.
Right.
Well, here's the other thing. Okay, so the original owner, the bottom line is it went from the original owner to somebody else.
Right.
And then from somebody else to this other person.
Third person, yes. So they should have caught it on one of the first two owners, and they did not. Like, because if it was just for the first guy, like, hey, we did this for your troubles, then when he sold it, they should have cut it down immediately, not
and
2 sales later.
And here's the thing: it was something done on their part. It was a mistake on their part by not locking it down in the first place. So that was their error. They didn't catch it initially. They didn't catch it for a couple of years. They didn't catch it for a couple owners. And the only reason why they caught it is because he brought it in for the MCU replacement, right?
Exactly.
Mind you, to me, the only right thing to do is to leave it as a 90.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just the right thing to do.
Right. I mean, they could have done this over the air any number of times before 3G shut down, and they didn't. They only noticed because there was another technician in there saying, "Oh, hey, Bobby didn't lock it down."
Right. And to me, but that goes to with, how they train their people, what their policies are and stuff, and like what it's like. The problem, part of the problem is that they're people that are working on the cars. They're engineers, basically,
Mhm.
right? And engineers are going to think like engineers, not like customer service people.
Right.
So
Like, oh, that's not set right. Let me fix it.
yeah, that's an engineering mindset. Is, oh, this wasn't right. Let me fix this and make it right.
Yeah.
But in reality, from a customer service standpoint, it's, oh darn, this isn't right. Let me go ahead and report this and go send this up the food chain and talk to my managers and all the people and say, what should we do in this scenario, because it's been like this for years. Do we want to give a person a bad customer service experience, or just let it go and leave it?
Exactly. And if they hadn't messed with this guy, the other guy they did it to, he might not even got it fixed. So they still would have had their $4,500.
Right.
I'm not saying it's right, but because they were getting greedy, now they've given away two of them.
If they would have locked it down in the first place with the first guy would have never even known it was a 90 battery to begin with. He just knew that he was swapped out and that his battery pack now works, right? And he was happy with his 60. He originally had a 60. Yeah. And they still never would have got the 4,500 anyway.
Exactly. And another thing to point out here is we don't know if that 60 was a true 60, like the car shipped with a 60 battery, or if it was a locked 60 where it was a 70 or 75 that was downgraded to a 60. But either way, the 90 is heavier than any of those. So they would have had to been in there changing labels, changing badges, changing all sorts of stuff. So it's totally on that technician for failing to follow that step. Or, maybe the computer didn't take it. Well, if the computer didn't take it, then you can't even blame the tech. You can just be like, hey, you guys screwed this up from step one, and you have to own this now. Because I've seen plenty of times where my mobile techs or my actual service writers are pointing out that the computer's not doing what they want, so they're just going to let it roll.
Right.
and again, they have bad paperwork and bad communication, so there might even be a note in there saying, hey, we told the customer we're just going to leave it like this because of bad experience. They have cases like that, and then they have other cases like where they'll loan out FSD, and this is where you hear when the ownership changes, the FSD goes away. A lot of times they just gave FSD as an appeasement, like, hey, this just like I have free supercharging for the life of the owner, but if I sell the car, the next person is going to lose free supercharging really quickly. They've given away battery capacity, and they've given away FSD and any number of other software loggable features in that same fashion. So,
but like my previous car,
yeah,
that had free supercharging, but it was for the life of the car.
Right.
So when I got rid of that car, I didn't get it on my new car, but the next owner now has the free supercharging on that car.
Exactly. So on my Model X, it's for the life of the owner, for the life of the car. So if something happens to total the car, I can't move it to a new car. And if I no longer own the car, the new person doesn't get it. But on your Model S and my Model S, it's free supercharging for the life of the car. So as long as the car doesn't get totaled and doesn't go back through the Tesla system as a Tesla used car, then that would transfer to all the new owners until Tesla gets their grubby little paws on it.
Right.
Yeah. But even then, sometimes they won't touch it because it helps them get rid of an old car. So it's really inconsistent with them. But again, that goes back to
that's the growing pains, and that's the problem with a startup company and the growing pains of trying to figure themselves out, right? Because they're very new in the game. If you look at other legacy automakers like Ford, who's been in the business for over 100 years, Tesla's still very new. Even though, yes, they've been doing this for a while, they're still, in terms of the company itself, still new.
Yeah, and like I said, they are the second oldest car company in America, but literally that's just on a fluke because GM and Chrysler couldn't keep their money in their pockets. Their entities are still around. So if you compare like when they started doing cars, Tesla's still the new kid on the block, only newer than actually I don't even think they're newer than Rivian.
I think they're around close to the same age as Rivian.
Yeah, they're about the same age, but I don't know if Rivian's older or newer than them.
This is Rivian hasn't really been able to start putting
they started
cars
super late.
Recently.
They started mad late.
The company's been around for a while. They just haven't been able to actually get that production going.
Yeah,
because production's hard.
Yeah. All right, so that one was a private group. What I did want to share from it was the article, and let me get that set up straight. So they're talking about the new bill that's working its way through Congress right now. It actually goes to Electrek, so we'll share that, and then I'll read the notes, the cliff notes here. So let's share. Well, let's fix this display. Then we'll share the screen. Tab. All right, so there we go. So Senate moves forward with EV tax credit reform, and the cliff notes are federal tax credit for EVs maintained at $7,500, eliminates the tax credit cap after automakers hit the 200,000 EVs. So this will bring back Tesla and General Motors, because they're the only ones out of the game right now, because they're the only ones who actually outsold the cap. Somehow Nissan still hasn't hit it, despite being first in the country by a couple weeks.
Wait, how has Nissan not hit the cap when the Leaf was?
It was 2 weeks ahead of the Volt, and
I'm confused. I thought there were a lot of Leafs out there. I guess
there are.
All right.
I think the Nissan beat. No, they didn't beat Tesla, because Tesla had the
Roadster.
Yeah, but the Roadster didn't qualify because it was too old. So yeah, so Nissan was the first in the country selling cars that qualified for this tax credit, and they still haven't run out of credits. Meanwhile, Toyota is running out now because they blew them all on plug-in hybrids.
Plug-in hybrids, yeah.
Yeah. I say they didn't even qualify. Somebody corrected me. There was one RAV4 EV plug-in that had the full-size battery, and then there was the Tesla badged. The Toyota badged Tesla. So the Model S40 in shoved up under a RAV4 EV.
RAV4, right?
Yeah. So that one also qualified, but because Tesla has a communication problem and Toyota didn't want to make EVs, I don't recommend buying that car used, because good luck getting it serviced. You'll have Toyota and Tesla doing the Spider-Man pointing at each other thing, and your car will just sit there broken. And they break a lot. Not Teslas, not Toyotas, but that model,
that particular one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the RAV4 EV.
The RAV4 that was
N2.
with Tesla parts.
Yeah,
Tesla underpinnings there.
Tesla underpinnings, Toyota requirements. It didn't go well. And so, David, is there still a credit to taxes paid? That's a good question. And the credits, not all people use credits, says Robert. They made, but the cap is gone after you hit 200,000. So this is not passed yet. Go ahead.
But the new deal is supposed to be money off the sale price, off the sticker, right?
We're getting there. So the 200,000 cap is gone, and so everybody gets to participate again. The language of the bill indicates that the tax credit would be implemented at the point of sale instead of on your taxes. So now it's an instant rebate instead of a non-refundable tax credit. Meaning that if you owed $7,500, that would bring you down to zero. But if you had no tax bill, you didn't get any money back. Or if you owed $2,000, it would bring you down $2,000 and then evaporate. So this sounds better already, assuming that they don't then try and claw it back if you didn't qualify. Let's see. So the point of sale instead of new taxes. In order to get the full credit, the electric vehicle needs to be assembled in North America. So Canada, Mexico, US. The majority of the battery components need to come from North America and contain a certain percentage of minerals from countries with trade-free agreements with the US. So
that's interesting that they said in North America. So they're including the Mexican-made Mach-E.
And you know why? It's a union plant.
Of course. We all know why. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I still say if you want unions, make it U.S. unions and call it a day. I'm wondering then if this might also be that the same pressures they're having in from the unions period. They might be having some pressures not to hurt trade with Canada and Mexico.
I don't care how they do it, as long as they do it. Just do it. Get it done.
Yeah. All right, so there's a new federal tax credit of $4,000 for used EVs. So this is new, and we haven't seen this in a long time. Being able to get credits for used EVs or hybrids.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's $4,000.
But
And it
they're
works
also
the
capping
federal.
the price of those used EVs.
Yeah, we're coming to that next. So zero emission vans, SUVs, trucks, and they'll qualify with MSRPs of up to $80,000 base. They qualify. Electric sedans of up to 55,000 MSRP base qualify. So they recognize that the price of cars has gone out of whack lately, and so they allow that price pretty substantial for both the SUVs and the electrics, and that's just a base. So if you have a base of if it's working similar to the way the one in Canada works, if you have one that you sell for 55, that doesn't stop you from selling one for 90. Or if you have a truck for 80, it doesn't stop you from selling one for 160. But you got to keep that base model around. And when the base model Y in Canada crept up to a different price point, it kicked them out of the program in Canada that they were in. Let's see. The full EV tax credit will be available to individuals reporting adjusted gross incomes of $150,000 or less, or $300,000 or less for joint filers. So all the talk about subsidizing EVs for millionaires. Well, they ain't.
No.
Not anymore. It's still a substantial income compared to like all of America, but
you're still talking
these
about
are regular,
people,
everyday,
regular working class people, because you're not talking about like those billionaires that,
right?
You know,
We're talking
quite
small
frankly
business.
don't need any of it.
We're talking small business owners, professionals, and then anybody under that in terms of income, but nobody over that in terms of like, Wall Street whatever's.
Right. Not these big time hedge fund managers.
Right. So I think this is a good balance. I mean, because there are some folks that live in places like where I live, the incomes are inflated here because the cost of living is inflated here. Worse if you go like to New York or California. And it would be a shame if they, said, "Oh, you make more than a rice farmer. You can't have this car." Oh, by the way, good luck affording rent. So, I think this is a good, delicate balance. Dawood's back from the phone. Hello.
Hey, Dawood.
Don't know if I can stay.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can hear me.
We hear you.
We can hear you.
The problem on my phone was I wasn't hearing back. I don't know what they changed in the software. Can you hear us?
Let's see what I got on audio settings.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the app or if it was
On
the
my
car.
headset, but I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so he couldn't hear us. Okay, that's the problem.
So if he comes back, we'll loop him in. But I think that this is a really good move. So now let's go through the article and see what else we can pick out besides the cliff notes that our friend provided for us. Also, really important to note that this is being pushed by Mr. Manchin. Good luck. Like, whoa.
Wait a minute. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What happened? Somebody got in his ear.
Republican. Right. The guy who seems like a secret Republican is actually acting like a Democrat for once.
Well, he's
up for re-election.
He's from coal country, so that's
he also owns some coal operations. But what I didn't understand is, as a coal mine owner or whatever he does with.
But honestly, from coal country, why would you be against EVs that are going to use more electricity when a lot of electricity is made from coal anyway? Like that, to me, that just doesn't make any sense.
Right, like especially if they're in West Virginia, and you make coal, and you own coal, you can't make gas from coal. Well, you can, but they don't. We don't do it here, and you can at least make electricity from coal, and so now you've got people using your product, right?
Makes sense to me.
It does. But then, as we also pointed out earlier in the show, that there's a lot of stuff that's bigger than the coal industry. A lot. It's going down. Mm-hmm. But anyway, this guy of all people is pushing this thing. So thankfully, it looks like this will actually pass, because once it gets through the Senate, the House has already been trying to do this. So it's not done yet, but we can consider it, as good as done.
Well, it's a step closer to getting done. So progress. I'll take it. I'll take
Well,
progress
first
whenever I can
it's
get
got to
it.
get through the Senate. But once it gets through the Senate, we can breathe a small sigh of relief and then see what happens from there. Let's see. All right, so these are the same as the cliff notes from our friend, but not worded as nicely. This would enable Tesla and GM to get back into the credit, in which case Tesla would only apply to some versions of the Model 3 due to the $55,000 price limit. Okay, so maybe it's not the base limit only then. Interesting. See, this might be like
Wait,
because it's a bill. There could be competing versions of it, so I might be quoting another one than the one that they're talking about. So this one actually is up to 80,000 and up to 55. So if they
So
bring
Model Y would be good because that's
Model Y
less
would be
than
good.
80 grand.
Yep.
Any
Yep.
version of the Model Y, even a performance version, you're good.
Yep. And the long range Model X, if they bring the price back down, it would qualify. But I don't see them bringing the price back down
I don't
anytime
see
soon.
that happening.
Yeah.
So as it stands, the 3. What does the 3 start at now? I don't even know.
Find out. NBA icon, Boston Celtics legend Bill Russell passed away at 88. That's sad.
Yeah, that happened. That is sad.
All right, so let's order one now, and let's turn off that potential savings garbage.
So the long range starts at 57.
Right. So unless the price comes back down for inflation, you're going to be looking at a base Model 3.
Just the base model rear-wheel drive, standard range Model 3.
Yep.
That's 46, so you could get that.
Yep, with no options. Actually, some.
Well,
options.
no, that's 46, so you could get some options on it.
You get like paint.
You can get it. You can pick your color. You can get different wheels, maybe.
Oh, that's it. That's with the big wheels. So with the free wheels, it actually goes down to 46,990. You could spec it out a little bit. You'd have to get your FSD after the fact, which would be really bad for my insurance company because my insurance company says if it's not on the sticker, they won't give you anything for it. But that puts you over the 55.
Yeah, you couldn't get the FSD. That 12K puts you over.
Oh, but I could do enhanced autopilot. Make it a little cheaper on me.
Oh yeah, EAP. I forgot they brought that back. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is there aren't that many options to pick from anyway, so you just have to be okay with not having the range or speed. Which, I mean, this is a solid car. 272 miles is more than I get today. 0-60 5.8 is slower than my bus, but do you really need to go that fast? I'm used to it, but oh shoot, I'm over here doing this thing and you guys can't even see it.
It's still not a bad car. I mean,
yeah,
272 miles of range, 0-60 5.8. So it's a decent vehicle.
It is. So the new vehicle credit, manufacturer caps eliminated, page 370.
I think I would just go with the Model Y though, in that scenario, because then you can get the Model Y however you want it, and you
can get all the options. You get performance
and it's available, and it would be eligible.
Mm-hmm. Bill's not law yet. Manchin is on board. Should be able to move through the legislative process after over a year of negotiations. Here's a more detailed look as written by an actual lawyer, Chris Stadium. Manufacturer caps eliminated. Credit applies for all vehicles purchased beginning January of 2023. Oh man, I hope this doesn't tank purchases.
No, wait a minute. Do you have to? Does it count if you order it and don't take delivery until next year? Because the waiting list.
These things are usually based on taking delivery, because there were a couple people who got screwed with the hybrid and the original plug-in credits.
Well, because I know when New Jersey did theirs, it didn't count if you ordered it before it took place. So you had to have ordered it and taken delivery after the start of it taking effect.
Gotcha. Well, in the case of the federal, it's when you purchased it, and that's usually considered when you took delivery.
I would hope that's the case. Yeah.
But in the worst cases, remember that the others like Tesla and Rivian and stuff, they don't take your money until it's about to land. So worst case is if it's ready in December and you see this thing becoming law, just don't give them the money until January. The wood's back. We still hear you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'll try for a little bit.
All right. And then afterwards, let me know what you did to make it work because I couldn't get it to work in my car.
Oh, we're just going through my phone. It's not going through the car audio.
Oh, okay, that'll help. Just cut the car out of it. So the credit applies for vehicles purchased January 1st. Transition provision with EVs with written sales orders. Okay, so there you go, Omar, like you were saying. So if your sales order is dated in 2022 prior to the date of the president signing the bill, but delivered in 2023, allows the purchaser to claim the old credit in 2023. So if you would prefer to do the tax credit thing, then you're good.
Oh, so you can do it the old way.
Yeah, but that doesn't work for Tesla or GM.
Even to Tesla and GM?
No, that's the old way.
Which they've already reached their cap, and so it wouldn't count for Tesla. So you would have to wait until January to order your car. So that could tank sales.
Mm-hmm.
But
only from Tesla and GM. Yeah, everybody else is good.
If you order it this year and you get it next year, they still won't.
Nope.
Give you the new one.
That's what it looks like.
Nope.
Ooh, I gotta tell my friends.
I wonder if Tesla will do something, because this is what they did. Remember at the end of the last one, they did a little something to make it palatable before they started just raising the prices again. Vehicle must be assembled in North America to qualify for the new credit. North American assembly requirement applies to vehicles sold after the date of adoption of the bill. Of course, because this replaces the old bills, what I'm hearing. Or the old law. $7,500 credit is broken into two binary pieces, meaning the vehicle either qualifies for each piece of the credit or it doesn't, no longer based on the size of the battery pack. $3,750 of the credit is based on the vehicle having at least 40% of its battery critical minerals from the U.S. or countries with free trade agreement with the U.S. Here's a list of the countries. We'll load that up and talk about it later. Or let's see if it's a short list and I can read it to you.
So,
it's a short list. Australia, Bahrain, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Israel, Jordan, Korea, Mexico, Morocco, Nicaragua, Oman, Panama, Peru, Singapore, and the USMCA.
Not China?
That's not a country. Definitely not China, and I'm not seeing Japan on the list.
The Trump construction.
Right. I don't know what happened there. It flashed, and then took us all off. All right, so we said the T word. All right, so $3,750 of the it's all right. $3,750 of the credit is based on 50% of the batteries coming from a U.S. free trade agreement. 40% of the minerals requirement increases to 50% in 2024, 60% in 2025, 70% in 2026, and 80% in 2027. I actually kind of like that. It's a little bit like what they're doing with the chips, trying to force a little bit more domestic. Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing Tesla is making moves to try to do their own mining in America.
Yeah. So they'll be fine. And I like that they're not just throwing it out there. It's ramping up year after year, so you have a chance to actually get your logistics in place. And I like that what they're doing is they're trying to bring jobs home. But that's fair. The government has until the end of the year to develop guidance on the battery requirements, so that's still in flux. Beginning in 2025, any vehicle with battery minerals or components from a foreign entity of permitted. So it goes a bit further. So if you have like Russian or Congolese components in your battery,
then you're kicked out the program.
You're out. I like it. It's aggressive.
That is aggressive.
All right. So one credit per vehicle. I mean, what's new about that?
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Right. They don't let you double dip. They never have. And in fact, if you did try to double dip, they would say this portion is not allowed to overlap, and so you can take the extra. And that's kind of something they came up with this one. Modified gross income limit of $150K for individuals, $225 for head of household, and $300 for joint returns.
Yep. It's interesting to me that they made that 300 and not this 400 number, because with their new tax bills and all this other stuff. Like they wanted to tax people over the 400, but anybody under 400 with
Oh, I see what you're saying.
couples that is, they
Yeah.
didn't want to do tax them with higher taxes or whatever. It's interesting to me that they didn't just
Yeah, they should have
mirror
matched
those
that.
numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they
Like,
should have matched that. But I'm wondering if
that's interesting.
Mansion thinks that people are rich, even though he drives a Maserati. Uh, so perhaps this is his deal for the caps. Remember, he didn't want rich people to have these things.
Oh, right. Well,
His definition of rich
West
doesn't match the
Virginia,
parties. Yeah,
definition in West Virginia is a little bit different than, let's say, New York or
right,
DC.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be based on his definition rather than the party's definition in this case. And it's simple doubling, so a little bit of if both
150 for
partners-
individual and 300 for
right,
joint. Right.
So
That's simple.
fair.
But I mean,
fair.
they could have did 200 and
Right.
400, but
Yeah, that's what they should have done.
but it's fine. It's
Better than nothing.
The 150 300 cap is fine. I mean, that is a decent cap.
That's a huge
Anybody who's
portion of
making more
America.
than that, honestly,
They didn't need that.
they can afford the car without help, right? So
Right. Unless they live in California.
unless you live in California, which then no, because then in California you still need to drive an EV because you can't afford gas there.
Right.
So
MSRP must be $80K or less for SUVs, vans, and trucks. $55K for all other vehicles. Wait, does that mean motorcycles are included now, or are they counting the autocycle like the Aptera? I wonder if the Aptera qualifies for the new one.
wait, the Aptera.
It didn't qualify for the last one because it was a motorcycle.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's 3 wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that technically does
Well,
count as a motorcycle.
It does meet the price regardless. It's under $55K, even for the maxed out one. And I think the top one was 47.
I forget.
Yeah, that's assuming that inflation didn't hit them too. Dealer can apply
I'm
to
sure it
credit
did.
at the time of the sale. Dealer must disclose to the buyer that the MSRP of the vehicle, the applicable tax credit amount, and the amount of any other available incentive applied applicable to the purchase. I like that. We'll see if it actually helps or if they eat it and keep it while telling you they took it. Like, yeah, this is ours. Have a nice day.
Right.
The credit terminates December 31st of 2032. Honestly, if we haven't made significant inroads by then we're going to fail our 2035, 2030, 2040, 2045 goals for transitioning. All right,
True.
so let's do this new credit, the used vehicle credit. Tax credit, 30% of the value of the used EV with a $4,000 cap. I wonder how they determine that. The used vehicle must be at least 2 model years old at the time of sale, so no flippers. So that $300,000 Hummer EV that didn't get any miles on it, it doesn't count unless you let it sit there for another year.
Gotta be at least 2 years old. I like that.
Yeah, because right now we
If
have
they want something that's naturally going through
right
as a used EV, like okay,
rather
somebody
than
actually
scalpers.
used it.
Yeah,
Right.
because we've had a little bit of issue with scalpers since the beginning of COVID.
Yep. I'm on board with that one. I like
Yeah.
that.
I'd be fine with as old as a year, but 2 years is fair. Let's see. The original use of the vehicle must have occurred with an individual other than the one claiming the credit. That makes sense. You don't want somebody to sell themselves a car to get the credit, or go refinance their car with their dealer to
try to get the credit again. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right again because they could have qualified for the first one and then gone for the second one. Now that's
Right.
used.
Try to get it twice.
Right. No double
I
dipping,
got the
baby.
new credit, and now I'm getting the used credit.
Right. Or if your car, like you and me, we got ours before they count it and trying to use it again, you can't because that makes sense too. All right. So
Okay,
the
so I'll
used
just
vehicle,
buy a new car, keep it for 2 years,
and then
and
trade it
sell
back in
that
again and
car.
again.
No, and sell that car to my wife and let her get the credit. Stays in the household.
Depends on how your taxes are set up.
Oh wait, never mind. We fell joint. Just God. That doesn't work.
Right. Sell it to your sister, and then she takes it back, and then you get it. It's a little too much work.
That's a lot of work.
Dealer double dipped. So the used vehicle price must be $25,000 or less. So they're trying to make sure that
That's going to be the difficult part for some of these EVs, because if you look at like any Tesla,
Mhm.
the the average used price for a Tesla is well over the 25K right now.
Right.
Um,
But on my way back from our little trip, I saw a lot of Kia Niros and Volvo 40s and a bunch of other cars just on the back of. For some reason, they were all in the back top or back bottom of the truck. But these other EVs that could be 25 if the used car market wasn't topsy turvy right
wasn't
now.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah. so
I
so
mean, some of them are definitely going to qualify. Like you figure like the Leaf or the Chevy Bolt or something like that,
really old Tesla.
or yeah, or the old school Model S, yeah.
Yes.
But
But that's good
but
because that gets people with lower incomes into these things. So that's what we're looking for.
yeah, because if they're getting a car that's like 25 grand and you're getting like 4 grand off, now it's 21. Now it's a
Yeah,
lot more affordable.
right. Because you're looking at a $300, $400 a month car payment rather than where we're at now.
Right.
Right.
I
Uh, yeah.
I yeah, there should be incentivizing or making it easier for lower income people to get into them. But I still don't like the caps. I still think that that there shouldn't be at least income caps where they are now. There should be
Right.
more incentives for people with higher incomes to get into these cars because it's still a new technology.
Right. And then
We're still in the early-ish adopting stage, and and it takes a certain
And it
affluence
takes
level
enough
to be
people.
able to make this change to your life.
You're right. And it takes enough people buying new cars in order for
Right,
used cars to hit the market later.
right. And
right,
all
right.
these people buying with the higher income, buying these higher price cars, they don't hang on to them for that long. Some of them as
Sure.
long as 10 years, but then they almost all end up back in the used car market if they don't crash. So
That's pretty good cars.
they
Right,
will
very
trickle down.
usable cars.
That's a place where trickle down economics actually works. Um,
Right.
So yeah,
so I feel
yeah, I
you
don't
there,
like
but
those limits.
I feel you there, but I get why they did it. Robert's asking about
Yeah.
business tax company car. So for small businesses, it might work, but I don't think it's going to work for a regular company car based on these incomes and stuff. Uh, he
Mhm.
sent me a DM of a Model S for 11K on eBay. So yeah, that Model S would qualify. Um, the used
So,
vehicle tax.
and earlier, I have to get out for a second. Earlier,
Okay.
you guys were talking about whether or not it's going to affect sales, and it is. I mean, I got a friend and a brother that I told them you better put your Tesla order in now because I
Yes.
mean, you're going to be waiting a while, and prices keep going up, and then this happens.
Hmm.
So now I'm like, what am I going to advise them? Like, just keep this order. They're probably
I would
not going to
say
kill it
keep
in
that
January,
order
Yeah.
and then
and
see
then
what
make a new one
happens.
in January.
Well,
Right.
here's the thing: keep that order, see what happens in January, because if the prices keep going up,
It might be better. You might save that
it
money.
might not even matter. Because
Exactly.
if it, I bought my Model Y a year ago, okay, if I was to buy one right now, it'd be 12 grand more than what I paid a year ago. So we don't know what's going to happen with the prices.
Right. And if the price stays someplace where it makes sense, you might be able to. It might count if you just change your config because it's not the same order anymore. It might. It's not legal
Maybe,
advice.
maybe.
It's an angle to look at. So
It's worth
this
a
one
shot.
is kind of painful. The used vehicle qualifies for tax credit only once in its lifetime. Hopefully, there'll be a website where you can check before you go and buy a used car.
Well, usually with Carfax or whatever, you'll be able to see that how many previous owners there were for a car.
You can see that, but you don't know if they took the credit.
Yeah, but you can assume that they took the credit if it's already been used before.
But what if a rich person bought a car for their kid?
No, yeah, but they would have bought it new and they would have just gave it to their kid.
What if they know their kid's a real bad driver and they get them a car that qualifies, but they don't qualify for the income?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, I don't know, but yeah, that'd be interesting to
Right,
see
and then it's a rich
how that
kid. They
plays
drive
out.
straight for a
But
year. Mommy and daddy get them a nice used or new electric Ferrari for their birthday. Now that used car is just hanging out there. It never took the credit.
or what if it was a new car that originally
Yes, because
qualified for the original new car one,
Right,
Then
'cause
they
it
sold it used to
right,
somebody, but it was over
already done once.
25K.
Right.
But it was already, but no, but what if it was over 25K
When
when
they
they
sold
sold
it.
it to the
Yeah.
one person,
Yeah.
right? But then that person later
Sold it for
sells it
23K.
used again, but now it's less than 25K, so now it
Yeah.
qualifies.
Yeah. There better be a website for this.
Dude, that's gonna be that's gonna be tough to keep track of.
Yeah. Hey, there's an idea. If the government doesn't do it, or if the government does do it, you could be the contractor. If the government doesn't do it, there's a you could sell this to the dealerships as a central repository for tracking this crap. Purchases must be an individual, no businesses. There you go, Robert. Must be no businesses to qualify for the credit. Page 390. Yeah, because businesses qualify for the last one, and that ate them up quick. Purchaser must only claim one used vehicle per credit per 3 years. So if you have 2 kids, you can only claim it for one per 3 years. So if you got them 18-month, 13-month apart kids,
Oh wow.
it don't count. Modified gross income cap of 75,000 for individuals and
Why did they
112,000
cap
for.
it at one used car for 3 years? I don't like that.
I don't like it either. I really don't like this income cap for the used cars. 75K for individuals and 150 for joint. What if you make
What?
200? Yeah, what if you make 200,000? You're young professionals. You're gonna buy a car for the first time, or you're gonna buy a car for a kid, and you make 151,000 together. Now you don't count for a $4,000 credit. Come on, guys, don't be cheap. You got all this money you print week after day. I think that the income cap.
Okay, I didn't like that. I don't like that
I
stipulation.
don't like that at all. That should match the new car cap.
That, yes.
Some people don't buy new cars.
Yeah, why would they cut that in half of the new car cap? I don't like that.
Yeah, it's not good. Credit may be applied at the time of sale by a dealer, so just like the new cars, and probably just like the new cars. This is ours. Enjoy.
But used cars don't generally.
It has to be a dealer.
If it's a used car that's a couple years old, it's not generally going to cost half the cost of the new car, right?
Right.
So it doesn't make sense to cap the income to be half of what the new car income is. I mean,
unless the only reason for a used car existing is as a lower income incentive, but they should just say that, and then make it also count for new cars, because there are a couple new electric cars for 25 or less.
Not many.
I mean, yeah, that's already there, but like they could do an extra one on top for those guys if it's a low income credit. If that's the point. I also don't like that it requires a dealer, because does this count for Tesla, Rivian, Aptera? They don't have dealers.
They don't.
Or is that on purpose?
Wait, does it specifically say dealer in there?
Both blocks say dealer.
Dealer can apply credit. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then the used car must be purchased from a dealer. But is that somebody with a dealer license or a manufacturer dealer? Because
I mean, it probably does count. It probably does count if they have a dealer license. Because
I hope so.
Because they're still technically a dealer.
Yeah.
But
literally, it says dealer on their license.
But wow, yeah, you're right. That wouldn't so Tesla's eliminated from that used car market.
Maybe
instead of altogether.
But if it literally just says dealer, because
unless somebody traded it in. So if somebody trades in a Tesla to their BMW dealership, then it counts.
Right. But if it don't forget, Tesla has dealer licenses to be able to sell used cars. So if it's anybody with a dealer license, then
okay.
Then I'm curious how they'd put that on their website. Here's your potential savings. Here's your actual savings. If you're not too rich. Credit may be applied at the time of sale by a dealer, and the credit terminates on December 31st, 2032. So the used car credit ends the same time as the new car credit. I think that could be trailing as well. Trail that up to 2035, 2040, whenever the actual end date is. Come on.
Well, they're doing it for 10 years. Well, no, wait. It doesn't start till 23, so 9 years.
9 years. Close enough. I bet Tesla drops the Model 3 long range to 55K so it can be within the subsidy range. I like it. They've done it before. In my opinion, the subsidy should be progressive to promote lower prices. Yes, that's a good idea. The point of subsidizing EVs should be only to reduce fossil fuel uses. There's no inherent reason to mix it in a social program. I agree. I mean, I see both of these sides of it. Like, I get like it, but pick one, and then once you pick one, do it right. It's a waste of money then, like fighting obesity by subsidizing salads in restaurants, and then hoping people will stop getting stuffed with burgers by fast foods. The point of subsidizing anything is to keep the cost low and allow the product to compete with others that have the same low cost but not the same benefits. I do wish that McDonald's had actual vegetarian food in the U.S. The McPlant sounds delicious, but I will never know unless I travel.
Wait, their salads aren't. Oh,
I mean, most of their salads have like chicken and stuff, and salad is an appetizer. It's not food.
okay.
Let's see. While we're on the subject, it should be illegal to charge $15 for lettuce with some stuff sprinkled on top. I'm pro salad caps. We were just talking about that.
Salad caps, yes.
Salad BCB pro bono, free the salad. No, you know how much work it takes to get lettuce? Somebody's out there sweating in the fields for that crap.
No, it shouldn't be free, but I do agree it shouldn't be $15 either.
Exactly. Robert says vegan burger is £2. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, well over here same
price.
thing.
That's a good price.
Those like Beyond Burgers and stuff like that are.
They're way more than that here.
They're more than a regular burger.
Yeah, if you get it pre-pattied, I think it's like $4 to start with. But if you get it as
well, you can get an Impossible Burger from like Burger King or whatever for like.
Oh yeah, for about $3-4. Yeah.
$3.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it is more expensive than the rest.
But it's still vegan technically.
Yeah. Well, if you get them to clean the grill first.
Or vegetarian.
It's vegetarian for sure. It's back. All right. So the last one we did was the EV tax credit. 432. 432. Okay, because I lost my place of where I was in the notes. Copy this link, and then we'll paste it off screen. No, it's Drive
What's
Test
your thoughts on this, Kacey?
Go ahead.
What's your thoughts on EAP versus FSD? Considering EAP is $6,000 and FSD is 12, I mean, is it worth paying double the money for what you're getting? Because the only thing you're getting, the only advantage that you're getting is stopping at the stoplights and stop signs, right? Because you're still with EAP.
If you're not in the beta, yes.
Yeah. So with EAP, you're getting automatic lane change, you're getting navigate on autopilot, and you're getting
city streets,
summon and smart summon.
Yeah, but also it'll turn off at the bottom of the off ramp on EAP most of the time. Depends on how the road is classified in the map.
It depends, yeah.
Yeah,
but
I say get one of them if you're going to be in the car for any length of time on trips. If you can afford to get FSD before the price goes up, do it. If you can't, definitely get EAP before the price goes up. And if you're in Europe, just get EAP. Don't bother with FSD unless you plan to keep the car for like 10 years.
Well, see, what I've been doing is I've been doing the subscription model when I'm going to take a really long road trip. Yeah. And then other than that, I haven't bothered. I've just been keeping the basic regular AP.
So in your case, what I would do is I would get EAP, just buy that outright. And then when you're on road trips in unfamiliar towns, rent FSD at the lower price.
Now, would that be, I was going to say, would that be at a lower price?
Yes. Yeah. So right now, if you rent FSD from the included package, you're at what, $199 a month?
It's $200 a month, right?
If you go at it from EAP, it's only $99 a month right now.
So it's half. Okay.
Oh yeah. And who knows where it'll be after that? But I think it'll still be a significant.
It'll still be less than right
exactly
because you halfway paid for it.
Yeah. The other catch is if you have a car that has an AP 2.5 or 2.0 computer, if you don't get FSD as a purchase, you'll have to pay for the upgrade for either EAP or the rental FSD. But in your case, your car came with it. Most people's car will come with it just by the sheer numbers. but it's something to consider if you have a in-between car like mine. Mine came with FSD, so it also came with the computer upgrade later. I got that done a video on December of 2019. Yeah. All right, so Tesla
my car was
recalls.
new enough.
Your car's
So-
new enough. You're good. All Model Ys are new enough. Most Model 3s are new enough, except the very oldest ones. Tesla recalls certain 2022 Model Ys for airbag fix. This is like a real recall. And when I say that, I mean, it doesn't just qualify for the definition of recall. You actually have to bring it in or get them to come to you. Because, according to a tweet from Sawyer Merritt, the issue is that the front bumper carrier structure may alter the vehicle's crash detection during certain low-speed crashes. As a result, the front airbag can deploy incorrectly. So, Tesla service will replace the front bumper carrier structure free of charge. This current recall is expected to affect a small number of vehicles. So they can't software update you a new bumper. So finally, something that actually qualifies as a recall on Tesla. Like the way that people think of when they say a massive amount of recalls on Tesla. And even though it's a small amount. Yeah.
I mean, all manufacturers go through this. They all have recalls.
In fact, I've got a few more.
I haven't seen a single manufacturer yet that haven't had any recalls.
And if they don't, you should run because they're hiding something.
Yeah, big time.
That or they opened yesterday.
Right.
Yeah,
any
so
recalls on the Rivian yet?
I'm getting there. I've got some non-Tesla recalls coming up later in the show. I don't remember who they are. This is the 7th recall for Tesla in 2022, but it's the first one that wasn't just a software update.
Right. I don't even count the software update ones because they just push that out.
We need another word for it, another legal definition for it.
It's like, to me, that's just like, oh, we made software improvements.
Right.
Bug fixes. I count them as bug fixes.
Right. Did you get your May update for your smartphone?
Right.
Or your last week's update for your computer? Speaking of which, my Mac rebooted on me. I told it, wait. And it's like, okay, it's midnight. Boom. I was like, no. I said, we'll try.
That's all right. My computer rebooted on me. It was doing updates. And then right when I was about to get on the show, it rebooted before I was like, just clicking to get on. It was like, rebooting. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll wait.
Yep. David says, beats buying FSD in March 18 and watching beta testers drive it while I still don't have it. Yeah, that's...
Well, no, you do have what you... Technically, you have it. You just don't have the beta version.
There's that. But David and I, when we bought ours, Elon was saying, the price is only going up. It's only ever going to go up. And then, how long was it down, David, what we bought? It was down for almost or over a year, down from what we paid for it.
Oh, yeah, remember
it started only going up again.
Thing. Yeah.
and then, like you said, he
was trying to get the take rate up.
Right, but then to watch somebody who just got out and bought their Model Y, no experience with any Tesla, get into the program as one of the safest drivers, that was a bit of a slap in the face. I know what you're talking about, David. I feel it.
That I understand.
But I have a YouTube channel.
I definitely understand that.
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel, and I certainly could have done. I'm nothing against the guy. I'm glad you got it. I do wish you'd stop letting your car do stupid stuff in front of the news, because they will take your stuff and spin it around. Don't cut the film. Just don't let the car do stupid stuff. Because if you cut the film, then there's going to have more speculation. Just don't let your car run into the piers. Don't let your car run into the train. It's easy. You're the driver, Mr. New Tesla owner, who's had it for 3 years now. Robert said Facebook kicked him out 3 times. David says bought it at a bargain for my son's lemur, but he doesn't have it either. Okay, so you got one at full price like me, and then you got the discount like my friend did on the other. That's not a bad deal. I wouldn't be so mad if I got a chance to participate. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we already talked about Volkswagen, so we're going to skip this one. You can see my process when you see that I end up with the same story from different people. All right, so we talked about this one. This is basically just a summary of the one that we pulled up before. Tesla acquiesced, did the right thing, and only because it made the news. Because I bet you that they would have just continued to hold the $4,500 line had they not looked like jerks in the news.
Yeah, they really need to. This is a spot where they can definitely improve, on their customer service and experience, because they should have just did the right thing, to begin with.
Exactly. Right, so I got
Even if it had to be escalated up a couple levels and with management or whatever, they should have still ended up doing the right thing without it having to hit mainstream news first.
Yeah. Well, Elon likes to preach about their flat structure, but it certainly seems that the people that actually interact with the customers do not have the autonomy they need. Just saying. Maybe look into that. All right, so we got another one from Drive Tesla Canada. Ford unveils the first purpose-built EV for police operations. So if you thought a Model 3 was too small, to get in with utility belt, you can't say the same thing about an F-150 Lightning.
True
You have to
that.
get up in it. I think this is a good vehicle. I mean,
I like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Put them in F-150s, Mach-E's, or Lightnings. Bring it. These are all American cars. And, all the downtime while you're waiting for something to happen, you could be in luxury. You got AC running, so you're not like out of like. If you had to sit there in a hot car while you wait for some perp to come by, that's not good. And if you have to run some gas or diesel, that's worse. I mean, you could be in there, you run the radio, doing your paperwork, whatever, and then you get the call, then you can just drive. And if you're, you can even get to the meter maids. I know that's not the appropriate term for them, but literally the guys whose job it is to check the parking attendant, parking enforcement. There we go. That's the word.
Well, parking enforcement, I think should use smaller vehicles.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like a vehicle like that's way too big. Like that doesn't even make sense for parking enforcement.
Didn't even fit the parking space.
like something like a Chevy Bolt or something would work.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Something electric.
Yeah.
Something electric. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you could literally get away with using a Model 3 or something. But
right. Well, the Model 3 you still got to bend down, and if they're
there is that. But
for the ergonomics, I would say something that has the seated position.
You could use an Aptera for that.
That's a taller vehicle. It would work.
But for actual patrol,
like pursuit and stuff, patrol and pursuit, and stuff,
like having a all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle a lot of times is very useful, and having a larger vehicle is definitely something that police would definitely be interested in.
Right, and you don't have as much of a hit of it being a truck because it's electric. One of the things,
and there are pickup trucks out there, police purpose.
Oh, there are
that they use.
Yeah, in my town,
pickup trucks.
In my town, they have a few just to pull the dive rescue boats, and among other things. But like they use the truck, it's not necessarily as patrol or anything, but the truck is in service, ready to go. So that way, if something happens, they can just haul whatever equipment they need to haul, be it the dive boat, be it a generator, anything that the police would do that the firefighters won't do, or maybe to haul some equipment for the EMTs, because the ambulances don't tow trailers in that town anyway. So. They're legit reasons.
If you're in a town with a beach, they might need to go on a beach.
Exactly. Something four-wheel drive, a little bit of ground clearance.
Right. So that would definitely, I think the F-150 Lightning would definitely be a great vehicle for that.
Yeah.
To replace those pickup trucks.
Also, with vehicle to home, if they could put the chargers, hook them up right, you could have 2 or 3 trucks just pull in and just run your operations for the city or for the police or whatever during an emergency. You don't have to do the hauling fuel around and all that. Like literally, you could plug them into the hospital and they could run the hospital with 3 trucks. Done.
I mean, we all know the hospitals already have their own.
They do, but what if the line breaks? So they run out of gas.
Okay. So
extra justifications you can add to
it. I mean, there are multiple things you can do with them that you wouldn't do with a normal regular gas truck.
See, they went for the ProPower. ProPower on board because there was a mobile power source, letting up accident scenes. I'm not the only one. It's a big old battery. In terms of technology and kit, here's what you get with the SSV. Intelligent range, sync 4. I mean, I don't know that you need sync 4. Forward power up over the air updates. That's good. Copilot 360. That's always nice too, because you see so many cops running down the road working the computer, or their cell phone, despite the fact they're not supposed to be doing either while in motion. It'll make it just a little bit safer if the car is trying to bounce them in between the lanes. Don't let it turn around a curve, as we saw. Although our friend Sergio disagrees about the curves, he hasn't sufficiently made the loud ones on Twitter stop with the curve he did show. They want to see something like a big old sweep, and he showed us like a gentle, almost straight curve. So they're ragging him on that, but he's King Troll. He can take it. Although I do want to see him just shut them up. Like, here it is.
So
boom.
speaking of which, so last
Yeah.
week I did a road trip and I went to from New Jersey to Detroit, and I had the FSD package for that.
Yeah.
And man, that thing did phenomenally on the highway the whole way.
Does.
Like they've made improvements from the last road trip that I did, really long road trip that I did, and it was noticeable. Like the amount of intervention that I had to intervene was like way less.
Yeah, and the number of phantom brake has gone down too, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, a lot less phantom braking.
Yeah.
I think I could actually count how many times. It was like a 10-hour drive, and I could count on one hand how many times it actually phantom broke. So
nice.
And
some of them
that
are
impressive.
Yeah, some of them are legit. Like, I don't know if the car is going to stop when it's racing up to the edge of the street at the stop sign. It's going mighty fast, and then it slams on the brakes. It's like, so I don't get mad at my car when it is cautious around people that drive like they don't have any sense.
So I don't even count that as phantom braking. What I count as phantom braking is you're on a highway,
clear day, nothing going on.
There's nothing in front of you, nothing going on, and for no reason at all. It's just you're like, what's going on?
Right.
No, go. Hit the go pedal. Like, no.
Yes.
So that it used to do that a whole lot, and it's doing that a lot less.
There you go.
It has improved.
Mine tends to do that at crosswalks now, whether there's a person there or not. So 12-inch digital on-screen cluster with an additional 12-inch touchscreen at the center stack. Okay, I mean, I think it's they just didn't make a head unit, so they're going to give you some screen, not the 15-inch, but you get a screen. Police-grade cloth seats, that makes sense. I mean, do you need leather or vegan leather or whatever? Built-in steel intrusion plates, that is very important, because if you need it to ram somebody, or if you need to another thing that they teach you is you got to use your engine block as armor, and if there's a big old frunk there,
it's not an engine, right? And you're reverting back to your training, and you're trying to use the engine block as cover, and it's not covered, and that's a problem.
Yeah. So that's the right move to add some steel to it for this particular use case. Roof-mounted LED warning beacons in police coloring. So I guess if you want to use it for fire, you'll have to get them to change it out. And why roof-mounted? I mean, the whole thing that we were saying is EVs need more aerodynamics, right? Why not mount them invisible in the top of the windshield? Like on the Mach
you can't. And you can do that. There's plenty of upfitters that will take regular standard vehicles, upfit them for police use, and in part of their police package, they'll put them on the inside.
Yeah,
there's plenty of them that will do that. So why not do that for an EV?
Right. I mean, because Ford already does it on the Mustang.
Yeah.
Save these police departments fuel money. I mean, we were just talking about electricity is cheaper, but why waste it?
Right.
Reinforced instrument panel for easy mounting of police equipment. That's pretty important. You don't want to mount the laptop arm up there and then see the dash start to slowly turn into a taco. or a deflated souffle. Easy to clean vinyl rear seats. Okay, so this is set up for prisoner transport too. And flowing in the back. Flowing. What is flowing?
I'm not sure what they mean by flowing.
Like you can just rinse it when somebody has fluids back there?
Oh, maybe the way that it's. Yeah, maybe the way that the seats are formed makes it for easy flow, so that you can maybe rinse it.
Yeah. Although many expected the Mustang Mach-E to be the first converted, police forces in North America will love this addition. The Michigan police force, when they do their annual tests, they didn't like the Mach-E for some reason. I didn't go back and watch or read the report, so maybe they'll like this better.
Why didn't they like the Mach-E? I wonder.
I think
Maybe they thought it was too small in the back, like.
Oh, maybe because you got to like get the head.
Because
thing.
for prisoner transport and stuff, if you have a larger person and you're trying to stuff them in the back seat, maybe there wasn't enough room.
Maybe
it was I could see that being an issue.
Yeah, we brought it up when we were talking about how that police department in the UK was complaining that that electric cars don't work, and then on the picture of the article, it showed their car with their name on it on a Leaf, and I was speculating that perhaps
on a Leaf. Okay,
right.
So
right. Perhaps they were colored.
So I was looking. I was at a security expo, and they had police vehicles and stuff there, and I was looking at the Chevy Bolt. And I thought that back seat was definitely too small.
Right.
I was looking at it, and the way they had it partitioned, because they have it basically squared off like a cage or whatever in the back, so that it's separated from the driver compartment, right?
Yeah.
But the way they had it set up, I was looking at it, and I was just like, that is not enough room at all.
Well, I don't even think that was a concern for them, because remember, they have some pretty small police cars in the UK. Literally, he was complaining about range and speed and availability, and I was like,
I would complain about
you only have
speed on a
Leafs?
Leaf. Yeah. Listen, I complain about range and speed on the Leaf just driving it as a regular vehicle. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, especially if it was like a Gen 1 Leaf, like forget about it.
It was a Gen 1 Leaf, and so
forget about it. That's
right,
why.
Right. So we were like, how can the Model 3 and the Model Y work for all these other police departments, the Model S and even some other EVs, but yet this one police department out of the UK says it doesn't work? Like, is there something special about your town, or is it because all you have is these Leafs in the picture? Like, that was the only car they showed. They showed 2 unmarked Leafs and one fully, like, with the caution tape and all that Leaf. I was like, is this a fair shake?
It's a Leaf.
It doesn't feel like a fair shake to me.
Right, that's like saying, oh, these gas cars don't work for me, and you're using a Mini.
Right.
It doesn't work for us. And it's like, well, what are you doing?
Exactly. So while we're talking about Ford, the Mustang Mach-E is slated to get a new lithium iron phosphate battery, or LFP. This is good as an option. LFPs, you can be a little less babying on them. They still don't like to be kept at 100%, despite what Tesla says. They tolerate deeper discharge. They tolerate a wider range of temperatures. They're cheaper. They're heavier, unfortunately, and they have less energy, unfortunately. But if you replace your lower trim models, we found, obviously with Tesla, that you can fit in the same space as your big battery, the same capacity lower battery out of lithium iron phosphate, and get a reasonable amount of performance from them. So it saves them money, and it also saves on the line you not having to make different geometries, because all the packs are the same size.
So yeah, I mean they could definitely make
Physical
that
size,
work in the non-performance version of the vehicle. I don't see why they wouldn't. That's good.
Yeah, and they point out right here at Ford Authority, they don't use nickel or cobalt. So this will help with their requirement not to use conflict metals for the new tax credit. Because if you don't use conflict metals, you don't have to trace where your conflict metals came from to make sure they weren't actually conflict. Because they don't exist.
And by reducing the cost, they can actually start making a profit again on these vehicles, because they pointed out that because of inflation that they were no longer profitable.
Exactly. So I think this is a good move for Ford and for any customers who are looking to not get their GT, despite the fact they showed the GT in the picture.
But they got to show the better looking one. Come on.
Right. This is my favorite one. I don't like the nose on the non-GT personally. It looks like Morpheus. Oh, not Morpheus. It looks like Neo when he get the phone and his mouth goes. All right, so so this is a picture about the tax credit from Sawyer Merritt. Can I make this bigger without crashing anything? Not exactly. No, I can zoom again. That's all I can zoom. All right, so that didn't work out anyway, and it was a private page. So let's move on because we've already discussed the tax credit. Let's go to Reddit.
So you have the group up now, right now in the Facebook group
Bill,
on your screen. Yeah.
I thought I closed it.
No, it's just showing the Facebook group page.
Sorry about that. It showed
Hello,
black
guys.
screen on mine.
Oh, okay. Oh.
All right, so I found a bug. Did I get a bug bounty? All right.
There we go. Now we're on Reddit.
Sorry about that, guys. Tesla backtracks on $4,500 Ramson and restores range and use Model S for free. And then people were clowning this guy for the way that he titled the
Ramson?
article misspells ransom twice. I was confused what Ramson is. No, I'm told Ramsons. This is why we editors flocks. Okay, Dodge Ram, only smaller. All right. So anyway, we already discussed the
Yeah, we already talked about that one.
the tax credit. So let's move on. And how am I not logged into Reddit? And that's not the account I would log into with. Oh, I know how. Because I'm not on the right computer. Remember, I did my. I'm in the other browser this week, just like last week. I don't know. I don't want to pick new topics. I was like, why is this thing not in dark mode? That's why. Wrong browser. Anyway, back to topics. Let's paste this one. Let's from Drive Tesla so we can just share the screen. We don't got to worry about privacy. Share screen. Oh. The first Lotus Elite, Eliter? Eletter? I don't know how to say that. This Elise is rolled off the production line. Like I keep saying, electrify all the things, all the platforms, all the sizes, all the different categories. Just electrify them all. And
That's right. Bring back the DeLorean electric.
they did, or they will. They say, we'll see.
It's happening.
It's happening. All right, so
It's just going to be too daggone expensive for me, but
for sure. Dual motor setup, 591 horsepower, 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, and a range of around 370 miles or 600 kilometers on a single charge. Not bad. They also make a more powerful variant with over 900 horsepower and a battery capacity as high as 120 kilowatt hours. Wow. Those are not confirmed yet, though. After the launch of this car, two more crossover type vehicles, and the car is known as the Type 135 EV and is similar size to the Lotus Emira. The goal is for the company to sell 100,000 globally by 2027, so at least they're coming in at with a reasonable number. However, this seems like a tall order as Lotus only sold 2,000 vehicles in 2021. That is quite a jump from 2,000 to 100,000.
Yeah, so the manufacturing process, that's going to be tough for them.
Yes.
I do believe if they make that many cars, they'll sell that many cars, but it's just going to be tough for them to make that many cars.
Yes.
Especially, I mean, EVs, and you're talking about where are you getting that many batteries from? And yeah, good luck.
That's not
Electra. That's
I know
easy.
I know I say Electra. I think they tried to help me out with the autocorrect.
Yeah.
There we go. That's what I typed. Elite. How to pronounce elite? No. That's not what I wanted. All right, so my camera is freezing. My mouse is acting up. Let's quit the camera. Turn it back on. Hope I don't come in upside down again. But I will.
Electri.
Oh, no, I didn't. Sweet.
Electri? Electri. I don't know.
Let's find out. Paste. Close.
Eliter.
So they're saying it without the C, but they're saying it anyway? Electra?
So let's see, Letra, even though
Elytra. But they're not Italian, are they?
I don't know.
Elytra. They don't even know how to say it. Like it'd be nice if
Well,
they had.
I can't hear what you're playing. So when you hit play, only you can hear it. So
Really? Did I
yeah.
not hit the share thing?
Maybe you didn't share with sound. I don't know.
I probably didn't. So let's do. Uh, seriously, the keyboard's not working now. I really hate the way this browser just crashes after partway through the show. See if you can't find somebody announcing this thing from Lotus, please,
Let's see.
and
See
see
if
how
I
they
can
say
find anything.
it. But even if we can't say it, it's a good idea. All right, so I told you I'd have more recalls. Porsche is recalling 40,000 Porsche Taycans. They're facing another substantial recall after recalling an additional 40,000 vehicles worldwide. According to ElecDrive, Porsche is recalling 40,421 Taycans produced between July 2019 and May 18th, 2021. That's a long window, so that's something that was just running they didn't even know. The substantial recall affects half of the Porsche Taycan fleet. The issue is with internal code ANA5. The code is related to a wiring harness of both the driver and passenger seats. The wiring harness may be damaged during routine longitudinal adjustments of the seat. I assumed longitudinal adjustments when they said all this. But basically, moving the seat forward and backwards, the wiring harness rubs, and, well, then your airbag doesn't work. So that's not good. The wiring harness may be damaged during routine adjustments. The recall is similar to the Porsche recall in China. If the wiring harness is damaged, there's a risk that the airbags and seatbelt tensioners could not activate, or could be deactivated, rather. As this is a safety issue, Porsche must issue a recall to ensure that it's fixed on its vehicles. See, another, what we would consider to be a recall. Like, when you say recall, this is what people think in their minds. Not, oh, it's time to update the software. Seriously. Porsche will be contacting clients shortly on the next steps, and it's been a tough couple weeks for Porsche. A few weeks ago, they announced a recall for 43,000 Porsche Taycan vehicles that could experience a sudden loss of power. The fix for that is a software update, which needs to be done at the Porsche Service Center. So that one, while it is a software update, because you still take the car in for the dealer to do it, that's still a recall to me. Like that, you say recall, people think you got to take the car in somewhere, right? Get a repair. Taking in for them to plug in a USB drive or a computer, that's a recall. Sitting in my driveway and pushing go, that's not a recall. Not conceptually. By definition, it's a recall. And we need to come up with a better definition for that. Just saying. This person says recalls are never good. Recalls are always good. They just hurt. For a company hoping to launch an IPO in the next few months, these recalls could not have come at a worse time. Financially, yes. But
Yes.
the fact that they're doing the right thing has got to mean something. Yeah, Robert says the Nokia phone. Yeah, so they were holding that Nokia slider phone, and his mouth went away. And that's what the Mach-E looks like to me. All right, so we've got a tweet. I think this is a tweet from Zachary. I don't know for sure. Let's see where it takes us. So the government's turned against deep sea mining as EV boom drives demand for metals. I like the idea of deep sea mining if you're going to do it by hand. Like divers come in, grab the nodules, put them in a basket, pick them up. But if you're going to go through and dredge up the sea and kill all that life and make everything dirty again while we wait for everything to settle out again, I don't agree with that because we already have a problem with hurting the coral and everything. But I don't see a problem with manually picking the nodules off the ocean floor. But yeah, I agree. Don't go through and just dredge the seabed. That's not cool. So let's see if the article.
Well, they would do it the fastest, most economical way possible, which would be also probably the one that would cause most harm.
Probably so. Let's see. These are more tweets that are not related.
But they figure, out of sight, out of mind. Nobody will see it, and so nobody will think nothing of it.
It's a big ocean. What could go wrong? A UN-affiliated organization meets this week to negotiate regulations that could allow seabed mining to begin as soon as 2024, despite warnings from scientists about potential environmental catastrophe. Yeah, if you tear up this, the undersea environment, that's not good. And it is.
And that whole ecosystem under the deep waters in the ocean, I mean, that affects everything. You don't see
Everything.
it, but it literally affects everything.
Literally, the ocean is our largest carbon sink. So you kill life down there, then that's actually going to release more carbon. So if you've seen the videos of farm equipment doing harvesting in the U.S., like the combines and all like the potato planters and anything where it's like just digging in there, just like a flap, 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 and then there's metal just rising up on a conveyor belt. Yeah, that's what I mean by dredging. It's going to just tear up the seabed, just eat these modules and whatever animals actually also fit as well, unless they're only going for magnetic metals, which doesn't make any sense. Because you need nickel and all that other stuff. That's what they're going for. That will be devastating to the ecosystem. But again, like I'm saying, if you send a diver down and he's got a basket and he's just filling up the basket, and then you pick the basket up and he fills up another one, I don't see there being a problem with that if you make sure that
That's not a problem. I don't see a problem with that, but that's I mean, you can't do that at scale efficiently.
Oh,
so it cuts out the incentive to do it at all.
Right. This is a what do they call it? This is a free range battery pack, man. I paid extra for it. Yeah. David says, "Call it meteors." Hang on, I gotta lock the screen and unlock it again.
You go down there with a big machine. You just grab a whole bunch of dirt from it, and then you bring it up to the surface, and then you sort it out up there.
Right, but if you do that, then you're going to have all the animals and plants and everything that get disturbed when you do it that way.
You would. You absolutely would.
Yeah. And then, in fact, if you're going to do that, then you might as well have the dredger, which is what they're going to argue for anyway. So, I mean, yes, this will help us transition to EVs, but was it worth it?
I don't know.
Or smart AI underwater robot. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Have a robot arm like the same one that like picks the trash from the recycling. Have it hover over, and if it sees a nodule, grab it. And then you don't have to pay a person and have them worry about the bends and their labor. And this could work. It will still be more expensive than the dredging operation, but finally it will allow us to do resource extraction without destroying the environment. I mean, we can do it, but we've never chosen to do it that way. In all of our history, we usually just go through and clear cut everything. It's our way. I think the closest you might get is like the first people, like First Nations, not like the first people. They were a little more in tune with nature than modern man is, but I think even they probably were a little more aggressive at it than they could have been. I'm getting all the metals back out of the landfills. That's another good point. Is we throw away so much because the way our recycling is set up that not as much of the stuff that could be recycled that we're throwing away is being recycled. We need to work on that as well. We have a long way to go, and we have not made anywhere near a big enough dent. But, like I keep saying, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Oh, you found it. Does it say how they say it? Copy link. Paste it in here. Reshare the screen because the screen share went away when I fixed the keyboard. Audio is checked. Maybe they're just so short they didn't make it.
So go to about 24 seconds in so that you don't have to play all their music and stuff, and you just go to right where they actually say it.
All right, and then unmute it. Hey.
It's called the Electra.
Electra. They just dropped the C. That's stupid. That's stupid. Stop this. Don't be cute.
Yes, they're gonna confuse people. That's okay. Whatever. as long as they're electrifying, I'm whatever.
Yeah, okay, I'll give them that, but don't be cute. Let's see what Georgia made a tweet about here.
They're running out of names, so they're just making stuff up there.
There's that. All right, so Georgia asked me and Russell, sounds like my legislative beat is covered for next week. Also sounds like Paul is never going to have a car to sell for the rest of the year into 2023. Among other things, this means you can pick up a new EV from GM that has a range of over 240 miles at an effective price of less than $20,000. This should be a huge boost for manufacturers pushing for vehicles at the low end of the EV price range. Really? Let's find out more. Oh, this is a long tweet. All right, so what's in the bill? Okay. There's also the income cap. Yeah, we talked about that. You can pick up a new EV from GM that has a range of over 240 miles at effective price. Oh, he's talking about the Bolt. This is true, yeah. Because remember, they just dropped the price on the Bolt, even though everybody's price of making electric cars has gone up.
Right. So that doesn't even make sense. How? Yeah.
They must be.
I still don't understand how they dropped the price of the Bolt when the price of everything else went up.
Well, remember, all they sell is trucks, so maybe this was less of a hit to just give it to their customers than to give it to whoever's giving them the fines, or buying it from people like Tesla.
Oh yeah, for the regulatory credits. You're right. They probably just said, you know what, we'll go ahead and take a small loss on the car and just sell it at cost.
Yeah, which also means that just like Tesla, if you see a GM you want, you better buy it now because they're going to raise the price.
Definitely.
Not just cancel stuff and move stuff. They're gonna literally raise the price.
Those prices are gonna go up. Absolutely. There's no way.
This is a temporary sale, even though they don't say so. But that's cool. That's great. Like we said, we need more.
Yeah, and at $20,000 for a new car, I mean,
yeah,
that's very
under
affordable.
$300 a month, isn't it?
That's very affordable. That's less than most gas cars. So now, what's the excuse?
Especially now, yeah. And then what does it cost to install a charging station at home, and how much does it cost your electric bill? And I like that he answers this. Installing a charging station can be as simple as plugging into an external outlet. Yes, I just charge using 110, which always tops off overnight, or spending around $500 to $1,000 to get 240 in your garage if you don't already have one. Yeah, because if you already have a 240, you just need to get the right plug end on your EVSE, and you're good to go.
Yep.
So I like the way he answered that. He handled it very well. To this, it could be a real question or it could be a troll. It's tough to tell these days. And I like that he treated.
You know what? There are still a lot of people that just honestly don't know. So
That's why I'm not sure. Yeah.
Just because I have people that are actually interested that ask me all the time. So, they'll ask multiple different questions, and one of the questions that they'll ask is, well, how much did it raise your electric bill?
Right.
Because they really don't know.
Pre-solar, it was $30. Post-solar, I didn't notice it.
For me, it was about $40 a month, additional pre-solar.
Yep.
Now with solar, it just doesn't matter. But yeah, pre-solar is about $40 a month for me. Which, by the way, was a lot less than the $250 a month I was spending in gas at the time.
Exactly. So a friend of mine posted a article that pointed at Clean Technica. So let's do that. And his quote was, "Yep, electric cars can go many places that folks think they can't." Folks are really uninformed about electric cars. Is the problem. All right, so the headline's not there. But where is this? What do you think this is? This is base camp at Mount Everest. It's a Model Y and a Model X.
Is that where that is? Mount Everest?
Yes. So Tesla Model Y and Model X are the first electric vehicles to reach Mount Everest base camp with video. Even 5 years back, no one would have imagined an EV reaching anywhere near the world's tallest peak. The problem isn't that they can't get there, because remember, electric cars don't have the problem of having to deal with a dwindling atmosphere. So it's not like they can't breathe. That's why they're starting to take over Pikes Peak. It's that maybe it wasn't paved, or maybe the roads were like kind of rocky or something.
Well, I think it's more so the fact that
Conceptually, people just don't see it.
So you have to have enough you have to be able to charge your car enough.
Well, there's that
to get all the way out there, then climb the incline.
All 5,200 feet of it, or 5,200 meters of it. Sorry.
So they're heavy vehicles.
They
and
are
climbing
picking them
up
straight up.
takes a lot of energy,
It
right?
does.
So getting up there, you have to have enough energy to get up there. Now, once you're up there, you're good because coming down, you're going to recapture a lot of energy anyway with the
Exactly.
regen.
Yeah. So they
But
experience the
but, but
range law.
normally a mountain like that, it's not going to be really close by, like where you can like supercharge right at the base of the mountain and then just drive up. It's not.
I think that's what made this possible because now there's a
And I think
supercharger there.
it,
So
there
when you
you go.
supercharge it,
So
I
now that
couldn't
there's
do
a
it.
supercharger there, now that's why you can do it. So that makes sense.
So I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot more of these now. But these were the first, a Model X and Model Y. It makes sense now.
Right now, it
and
all
and
makes
if it
sense.
looks like this, I wouldn't be willing to try it personally. I mean that doesn't look
I
comfortable.
mean, it's that road's a little
Not
rocky and it's a
not for what they
little,
charge for these cars.
yeah. Maybe with the Cybertruck I'd do it.
Oh, in a heartbeat. Assuming it's not too wide for the track. But it's definitely not going to be as wide as a dump truck. So yeah, I
I
would
mean,
try it.
if you got a dump truck driving on it, you can drive a Cybertruck on it.
Absolutely. So that was fun. Let's see what's next here. Oh yeah. So let's talk some more about Volkswagen, right? Before their new CEO comes in, see if he can keep it up. Volkswagen sees EV sales increase by 25% for the first half of 2022. Not bad. And there's the
That
ID
means they
Buzz I was talking about. Prototype.
that just means they produce more. Because let's be honest, right now you sell an EV. I mean,
It's
you
gone.
make an EV, you sell an EV.
Exactly.
So,
Which is why Lotus
however,
might do 100,000 cars if they can make 100,000
however
cars.
many you can make, that's how many you're going to sell. That's just the way it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah.
Because
They had
we've now reached that tipping point where EVs are starting to go mainstream, and so
Yeah.
because once you open up the mainstream market, it's not so niche. There's enough people wanting to buy them that it's just going to be a matter of how many can you make.
Exactly. My friend who posted that article was asking me about some stuff on Messenger. All right, so the Volkswagen profitability increased by 1.9 billion euros, and their e-car strategy is on course with 116,000 electric cars produced and sold for a 25% increase. As Omar said, they just built more, which means they sold more. And deliveries of e-cars in China is at an all-time high at 100% increase. Yeah, because again, you sell every one you make. So
Exactly.
if you make 100% more, you'll sell 100% more. And their return on operating is 5.6%. And again, that's based on their strategy of not necessarily making more cars, but making more profitable cars, which makes sense. And I don't know if
Well,
they'll even
5.6% profit on their cars.
increase in profit on cars.
Oh, increase. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm not sure if this strategy of theirs will continue when they go back to the old ways with the new guy. We'll see.
Now, do you think the old guy is going to go work for Tesla?
Mhm.
I think that'd be a good landing spot for him.
Yeah.
He could take over it, like maybe the European sales or something.
I think he
European
should be I think he should be Tesla's Gwen Shotwell, but we'll see if Elon can handle that.
Well, we'll see. Let's see
Yeah.
what happens.
Somebody else may snatch him up.
Never know.
I mean, if you can't get Tesla and you need to compete, he may show up at GM, and then they actually will lead. Although I don't know if Mary will give up her chair, so
Yeah, that'll be a tough one.
because at least with Tesla there is nobody in that chair. I mean, Elon's there, but he doesn't want to do the job anyway, so it'd be perfect. So Elon can have the director title, and then this guy can take it over, Mr. Dees, or he can literally be whatever Gwen's title is, but at Tesla. Because they could use somebody
He could be like COO or something.
Right. They could use somebody who's a little more traditionally minded in there. Keep them a little bit like a rudder or a keel. Keep them on track. Not that Musk isn't doing good, but they could be doing so much better. And I'm not saying to take him out. I'm just saying, Gwen does great at SpaceX, and sometimes she'll push him forward, like he doesn't go far enough. Sometimes he goes on these wild ass tangents, and she'll pull him back. Like, hey, Elon, don't promise that.
Right.
Mhm.
We might need some guardrails at Tesla, you know.
Mhm. All right, so that's Volkswagen again.
So how long
Right.
is the Dieselgate money gonna last for Electrify America?
Who knows? We'll see when they sell it. They'll tell us exactly when they ran out. All right, so if you wanted a Polestar in Australia, now that can happen. Polestar signed an agreement with AutoNexus to support Australian expansion. So this is kind of like a partnership. AutoNexus is going to be a distributor or dealer, and so now you can get Polestars in Australia. I wonder if they are actually a dealer, or how does this work? Because Polestar is very much like the others in that they don't have dealers. Either way, if you wanted one, you can get one now. They're good cars. Not my choice, but they are good cars. All right, so we talked about this already. It came up, like I said, it came up a lot last week. Sono Motors, we talked about. Talked about the Tesla 80 miles. This one's fun.
I don't even know how that one works, though. You're installing it right behind the meter, is that? Okay.
So it's a collar. It sits in between the meter and your house. Siphon's a little off the top.
Okay.
Right,
It's
so
for an
Tesla,
easy install. Gotcha.
yeah. If your meter is near where you park.
Right.
Sometimes it is. Tesla has started to apply for funds to expand the supercharger network to non-Tesla EV owners. So this is a good way to handle the whole how do we open up the US network? Just make all the new ones qualify. And then nobody's complaining at the old ones suddenly having a bolt show up.
I think that I don't know why we didn't adopt the Tesla standard as standard instead of CCS.
I agree.
It just seems like there's such a better way to do it. It's a smaller, more elegant plug. The cable's thinner, and it's able to. I just and why isn't that the standard anyway? When the
And
majority
there's
of
more
EVs,
of them, yeah.
the majority of EVs use the Tesla standard because Tesla's making the majority of EVs.
Exactly.
I mean, I get it. There's more brands that use CCS than use Tesla standard, but
They don't even make half of the cars.
the numbers of EVs, period, is more Teslas.
Yeah.
Uh,
Robert says only the Dacia and MG are cheaper. $29.80 per kilowatt hour here now. So 2.98. Yep. Changed since I was there. Chairman Meow attached by Pitbull. Hope he's okay. Yeah, I hope your cat's okay, man. The meters I sent to DM and Twitter. I have not yet. Let me get over there after this. So speaking of government money, GM has secured $2.5 billion in a government loan to build EV battery factories.
how'd that last government loan go for them?
Took over the company.
I mean, I'm just saying, did they pay that back or?
No, they went bankrupt. We took over the company. We seized it.
Right. So now they're getting another government loan.
That's why they're not the oldest or second oldest anymore, because they're a new company.
So too big to fail.
It looks like it.
Corporate welfare.
Remember, they just got however much the LG recall was, that kind of loan already for reasons. So in addition to that, they got another $2.5 billion to build battery factories.
Well, I guess you can lead if you keep getting the government to just keep pumping money into you. Eventually, maybe you'll be able to lead at some point.
We lead in government loans and grants.
But yet people talk about Tesla and the loan that they got years ago that they paid back early with interest and penalties for paying it back early.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hello, Pikachu.
oh, hello,
First time in this channel. Yeah, good to see you.
cool, welcome. So now GM's getting a big time loan from the government. Okay.
Again.
Hopefully they'll be able to pay it back this time.
Hopefully. So what does the departure of Musk's CEO frenemy? I wouldn't call him a frenemy. I'd call him a friend. At Volkswagen mean for Tesla? The pros and cons. So let's see a sample of what they think this means. Volkswagen's boss constantly put Tesla on the pedestal. Yes, he did. On Friday, the board of directors dropped a bombshell news. It wasn't really a bombshell to me. It was unanimous.
I wasn't shocked by that, actually.
Right. I thought he quit. I didn't realize they fired him. This is one of his tweets in April. Thanks, Elon, for always thinking outside the box, for strengthening the market capitalization in our industry, helping to cut through German bureaucracy. I would be surprised. I would not be surprised if he did show up at Tesla. I'd be surprised if he shows up anywhere else. Yet he was not fired reportedly by unanimous consent because of his strategic vision for the company, but rather a combative management style that created enormous friction at the group's headquarters in Wolfsburg. Again, that's why I said the family didn't like him. He has strengths breaking up and crushing structures in Wolfsburg. Source close to VW's board told Fortune. But over time, his deficits were more and more apparent, becoming obvious for all to see. In the case of struggling software subsidiary Cariad. What does it mean for Tesla, which counted the German automaker as one of its closest competitors? So it's basically saying it might be good for Tesla because it's kind of hard to change generals in the middle of the war, isn't it? The software disaster, lack of experience for the new guy. Why it's bad for Tesla. Now the board is unified because they got their guy in. Bloodless transition to a younger generation. I mean, being younger alone doesn't do the trick. EVs still remain a core strategic pillar. Yeah, if they were to go back on that, that'd be pretty stupid because in Europe, you have a deadline. In everywhere else in the world, including the US, you have a deadline for when you can't make any more gas cars. So to try and switch back would be really bad. Let's just put it that way. So, I mean, I don't know. It was as much pros and cons for Tesla there. Be a link. So the average electric car prices hit 66 grand in the US, but it's not the whole story. This looks super zoomed in. Let me, no, that's the right size. All right, so one complaint seems to be the EV prices. They hit 66K last month, but
So the average price is 66K.
all right, so there's more automakers entering the EV space, and they all started on the expensive end. So I guess that makes sense.
So the average price goes up. Makes sense.
And on top of that, we have inflation.
And Tesla increased their prices.
Tesla increased their prices, and then the whole car market right now is
Tesla
high.
sells the most EVs, and they raised their prices.
Yep, the average price for any car increased, or any EV increased by 3.8% versus 13.7% a year ago. But then you got to look at the gas cars. How much did they go up? Boom, there we go.
They went up too because inflation.
Yep. All right.
So
yeah, it's not
the price of every car went up.
Yeah. So like he's saying in the headline, it's not what you read in the headlines. You got to look into it.
I mean, that headline could have easily just said, price of cars goes up.
Exactly. And it probably should have.
And it would have covered all cars, right?
But it wouldn't have got as many clicks.
Right.
So, I don't know if I showed you this video, and they linked it again. So Tesla releases impressive footage of robot pulling still smoking casting from GigaPress.
Yeah, I saw that video. That actually was impressive.
You can see a lot of the structures that are molded in there.
It's one piece.
Yeah, it's one piece. I'm wondering if these little pieces here are just for the aluminum flow there, or if they actually are pieces they can use elsewhere in the car. Because, it is a die-cast, so why not treat it like the toy car that it's modeled after? And, oh, here's some extra pieces we needed elsewhere in the car while we were filling this thing with aluminum. I don't see why not. Yeah, right there, whatever these are. Do they not look like the model cars? This one looks like slag, but that one looks like it could be some part used elsewhere. Like maybe the B-pillar or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I'm curious how they get rid of this puck. Do they just cut this whole area out?
I think they use that.
I mean, they probably just melt it back down like they do with the wheels and stuff. But that was pretty cool to me. All right, so let's talk some more about Redwood, because why not keep talking about Redwood? Battery Essentials. They've invested, plan to spend $3.5 billion making battery essentials. So now they've recycled your battery, they're going to give you some parts you need to get your electric car up and running. All right, so I am now missing some stuff in the notes. They weren't deleted, but did the phone forget to send them? It did not. It flashed as soon as I opened it. All right, so do I have a conflict page now? I do not have a conflict page now. Oh well, I only really wanted to touch on this next one here. So we're going to go to, let's go back to Twitter. Right window. I don't want notifications on my computer. Actually, that might work. But I get so many notifications, the computer would always be beeping. I don't care about decreased range. I want one, Elon Musk.
A lifted Cybertruck. You know what? People are going to do that aftermarket anyway.
Yeah, with monster truck tires, people will do this. And it will look cool. But I don't want it for mine.
I don't want that for mine either.
Not green.
Although the capabilities would be a monster truck, but still, I don't want it. I'll take the efficiency. Thanks.
Yep. All right. So, wow, 2022.20.7 seems to go into insane details to improve range predictions. Even tire pressure is taken into account, amongst many, many other extra variables just added. Also takes into account the energy loss to phone charging, 12-volt accessories, air density, battery heating and cooling. Wow.
So how did Green the Only figure all that out?
He just read the code.
Oh yeah. Okay. He doesn't have...
US or China only? Everywhere, seemingly. Yes, actually in France. He's getting the download. Look at you. No traces of remote camera feature to be activated or any other Christmas update for legacy cars? No. But DIY people would be happy to find that Can Redeploy is now accessible from Service Mode UI, named Partial Install for when you just replace a CAN ECU. It does not require internet connectivity to download. So it'll just re-download what your car already has. So if you replace your door handle or a screen or something, I've heard not a screen, but something that the car would need a reprogram from Tesla for. Now, if it's within the right range and the car already has that version, already has what it needs to drive that part, you can do it without having to go visit. So that's good for smaller shops. Problem with that is we have no way to enter service mode in Alaska. Reportedly, starting from 2022.16, service mode is free for all, does not need a service center geofence anymore. Well, that's cool. Oh, and that's why you couldn't get it in Alaska, because there's no service center. So now you don't need to drive to the service center to put it there on your own. He's asking what it would be for. If you replace a car part like a headlight, oh yeah, the headlight, Model S door handle, and so on, for example, or an autopilot unit. If you don't repair your own car, it's not important to you. Omer asks how you can get into the service menu, and Green shows you how to get in the service menu. Well, he shows you his old tweet showing you how to get in the service menu. And then you type in service, and you push enter. And now you're in service mode. He doesn't show you how to get out, so don't play around with it. I know there's a way to get out, but it doesn't show you there, so if you don't already know how to get out, don't go in. It'd be interesting if Tesla would be outfitted with a sensor suite to measure the physical quantities, share them.
I think you can get out by rebooting the car.
Maybe. I don't remember. It was straightforward, but
I forget, because I did that one time before I got into service mode, and I can't remember what I did to get out, but it was pretty easy.
Yeah. Give Tesla benefit of doubt on everything, but I haven't seen predictions improve much on our Model 3. But he has Tesla Nav arriving with 32%, me driving 150 on Autobahn. I have my doubts. Green says, I don't have any problems with range predictions at 90 nowadays anyway, at 144 kilometers an hour, so it's only slightly slower than the 150 kilometers an hour. Okay. Is the estimates based on max legal speed, right? Only time it looks like, and based on prevailing speed, kind of like Google Maps, the energy estimates based on energy models that include recent consumption, current speeds. Oh, that's good. So it's taking everything into account, not just your tire pressures and how much your phone is charged. That's kind of cool, though, because
weather is nice, because headwinds make a difference.
Yeah, we saw the headwinds in the last software update, and so now that's coming in further. And the fact that it knows how much your phone is charging, when you think about it, you're charging a lithium battery, tiny one, from a giant one, and driving down the road, running AC, running screens, the bacon heaters, all that. So this is just more confidence, more inspiring, and they can better handle some of this stuff. That's pretty cool. Does the better route planner have any advantages over Tesla's onboard range calculations? And he says, yes, it allows you to play what if with the SOC, the state of charge. Exclude any superchargers or try alternative routes. It used to be more accurate, too, but that is no longer the case because stuff like this. I guess a better route planner also works for non-Tesla cars, too, which Tesla's onboard trip planner clearly does not, because it doesn't even work for another Tesla. It's only tracking your own car. So,
right.
Yeah. But
one thing I can say about better route planner is you will get better logic with which superchargers to go to and stop and how long to stop, because Tesla's
minimize stops
navigation wants you to stop at less chargers, and they also want you to stop with a big cushion of like a good at least 20%, I think is where they said
mine seems to know that I'm comfortable with stopping, so it's like, hey, you'll get here with 5%. I'm like, really? All right.
So I personally, my previous road trip that I just recently took, I completely disregarded what Tesla was saying because it didn't make any sense to me, and I ended up routing myself through and what charging stops I wanted to make, which saved me some time.
Yeah, that's what we had planned to do with this last trip, but people's bladders and the little one as well. Each of us had to make stops before the car was ready, so we ended up not doing its foolish hour and 20-minute long stops that it tried to do. It's like, you only need 2 stops. You stop once in New Jersey, and then once when you get there. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't doing the whole, oh yeah, stop here for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Stop here for no. We don't do that.
Right. And so with the better route planner, you can tell it to use the old way, which was minimize my time spent on this trip. I want to get there and enjoy my time. I don't want to spend it all.
Right. I want to get to where I'm going.
Yeah. Because most of the chargers it picks aren't even beautiful ones. So it's like, I'm going to be here for an hour at this rest stop.
Right. I'm going to be here for an hour at this spot. That's the only thing here is a hotel, so I can go to the bathroom and that's it.
Right.
No.
Versus if you use a little bit of logic or a better route planner, you can say, hey, I can stop here for just 15 minutes or just 20 minutes, and then I can make 3 more stops of also well under an hour. And then so instead of charging for 3 hours and being there, I charged for 45 minutes to an hour and a half for the whole journey. And now I'm
Right.
there for the extra hour that I was still been charging.
Right.
I don't know why Tesla did this. I'm guessing it was just to appease new owners who are like, why do I have to stop all the time? Instead of explaining to them and teaching them, like, look, this is the total charge time. Which another way they could have done this is if they had alternate routes.
They could have or they could have put an option in. Like,
they could say minimize stops.
Do you want to minimize
time.
stops or do you want to minimize time?
Right. But since they don't have alternate routes, they had to do it for everybody.
Right, and they had to decide, we're going to go this way versus that way. But
right. And so with Better Route Planner, you can actually set that balance of how far you want to go for minimizing stops and minimizing time spent. Like, yeah, I want some cushion, and I don't mind stopping for a little while. Let's do this, but don't make my trip longer than it needs to be. And that's an option. Or like, hey, I want the scientifically best. I want to stop here for 5 minutes, there for 4 minutes, there for 18 minutes. I get not wanting to do that. It's a little exacting. It's a little bit clinical and weird, but it does reduce your time on the road.
Yes, it does.
But it is a little weird. Like, oh, it feels bad. Like, you're about to hit traffic, you get off, and then you get back on, and now there's traffic. It's like, I understand how it feels, but it's not, like, literally, if you do the math, it works. Yeah. So he says they used to be more accurate. And also, if you have a Volvo or a Polestar, you might find the Better Route Planner is built into your head unit. So why not use it?
Right.
Also used for older MCU1 cars that don't have waypoints yet. Oh, good point. 2022.8.10.1 MCU does have waypoints though. 8.10.1.8. Oh no, she's in the wrong year. So yeah, she just doesn't have her update yet. Yeah, so she's right and he's right, but she can't force an update. Any signs?
Well, she might have that slid on standard. Standard.
She might be on standard mode. Yeah.
Because why would she not have that update yet? Like, still be on
right.
2021. Like, she's probably not on advanced.
At that point, like, if you're waiting a year for updates, I think they're pretty good. You could be on advanced just fine. Robert says more chargers needed. Yeah, they're working on the more chargers. Any signs of FSD beta features making it to MCU1 cars? I'm curious what features you're looking for, but that'd be interesting. Oh, MCU1, but FSD cars. Yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking AP1, MCU1, and I was like, what features are missing that it can do? Elevation and miles per hour, I hope, are included. Always annoyed when driving at 80 miles an hour. I could never trust the range estimates. And he says, yes, obviously elevation, wind, speed, and such are included. Elon announced this only 9 years ago in Munich.
Ooh, the shade.
Salty? He came through on Elon time. What about number of occupants? Surely adding a few 100 pounds makes a bigger difference versus a lot of other variables. And he says, yes, that's accounted for on several levels, both the mass and extra work for the AC to keep the heat. And because they're right. I mean, look at all the, was it 150 watts per person in heat energy?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That's advanced. Awesome. Except some XM favorites haven't worked in a year. I don't care about XM. Nobody likes to fix these things, unfortunately. What about cargo boxes and bike racks? They'll show up in the historic elevated consumption, and I imagine would be taken account from there. If you just attached it, then it won't reflect right away, but it will take a bit of time to adjust the model. I love this.
Interesting.
I mean, as much as I get all these weird questions about the CEO, I love the car. Look at this stuff. You're implying that my personal historic averages are part of the future-looking estimate. Is there a way to properly reset this? That's a good question. It's not historic in the sense of years or months. It's more historic as in the last XX miles. So probably, I would say the last 30 miles.
The last 15 miles or 30 miles or...
Yeah, I would say based on when I look at my MCU, it says, "Hey, for the last 30 miles, this is what you were doing." But then you've also got what's in the energy app. So I'd imagine it'd be one of those detents for whatever the energy app says for your historic consumption. Because there's no point in keeping this for a month because you're going to change the configuration of the car. You're going to reload it, and there's no point in keeping it that long unless you've changed the wheels or something like that. But that might be something that would store longer versus how many people are in the car. You only need that for one trip, but if you've got 5-inch bigger wheels on it, that might be something you need forever until they come off. Long range Model 319 has often had bad range estimates. Blah blah blah. He says, well, it seems it does not work as well for some people, but for me, as well as others, it seems to be working. Yeah, mine is usually within 3% of what it tells me, unless I suddenly start driving better, which I do sometimes. This guy's asking about battery swaps, but his account's been deleted. Any improvement to range predictions when towing? There's lots of room for improvement there. Yes. He says it should learn elevated consumption, but it does take a bit of time. So it'll be better, but I don't expect perfection. Energy loss for all that stuff, or will it be hidden? Oh, that'd be cool if it does show you. Internally it knows, but I don't know where they display it. Any ideal condition you can introduce to improve or maximize the range? Just like any firmware, slow speed improves range up to a point. I think 18 miles an hour was the sweet spot. Yeah, was it 18 and 60? Like, are the two biggest bumps, as well as having a room temperature outside, like 70, like 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I could go look at my charts, but I don't feel like looking at my charts right now.
Yeah, I don't remember what the exact range is for that for temperature, but
I've got 75,000 miles of it to show you. Just from this car, let alone the other car.
Speaking of which, I'm starting to get up there on this car now.
How many now?
I'm over 25K on it.
Wow, you got some road trips.
It's only been a year. I put over 25K on it.
Yeah. And it was already amongst one of the most comprehensive range estimates to begin with. I wonder how accurate you'd get just by feeding a bunch of parameters into one giant neural net and having it do curve fitting to fleet data on ground truth range. Pre-2021 was actually terrible to unstable in my experience, something I also complained about. For me, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either. Now it's, like I said, it's pretty darn accurate, unless it's a Model X thing, because he's also driving a Model X. Today, yeah. 2017 to 2020? Nope. I agree. Wasn't this already? There was some stuff added prior to this, but this adds more. Hey, Mal. Yeah, but you're driving in the UK. Your whole car does worse because of your legislation. All right, so that's green the only. And let me stop sharing my screen for a second. Take a look at Robert's DM. He showed us the very inexpensive. You got a 2018 Model X 75D for $11,000. 2020 Model S long range for $11,000. 2020 Model Y for $10,100. That car must be wrecked.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the catch is with these vehicles. Like, what's going on with these things?
Showed us the gluten-free organic chicken strips. Those look delicious. Electric meter and switch box are here. All right, so the switch box, I'm familiar. You guys have a different one. I'm not sure what the meter. Which one is the meter? Let's make this bigger. But yeah, it definitely doesn't have that big old glass dome on it. Oh, he showed me his meter before. So his meter is the it's got the LED screen on it. It's kind of a square. I'm going to share this on the screen, Robert. So, share screen. All right, so there is your panel. There's your main breaker, and then each of your circuits, and then this is the meter, I believe. And it actually gives him up to the minute pricing on his particular setup as well.
Oh, that's
and this is a breaker of some sort. Is this solar? These two, or what are these two? Pretty cool stuff.
Oh, that's very different.
Did you see the heat pump heater YouTube I sent to you on Messenger? I haven't caught up on your Messenger yet. I will do that after this. And what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably save some of them for next week's show. Just because Messenger is an interesting one for me. And if I open it in the wrong place, it won't show me all the old messages. So I gotta like pick the phone or pick the right computer app. And so it's just a matter of not picking the wrong one where it'll just toss all my messages. So, did you see this? No, I deleted
Wow.
it. Yeah, so
Okay.
I tend to batch them. Omar can attest to this. Like sometimes I don't open the messages for the group for days at a time just because I'm making sure I get them in the right place. Yep.
Well, that explains that.
Yeah. Well, I figured you'd rather me open it late than me not ever see it because
And you miss him. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. But with that, I want to thank everybody for coming through. I want to thank Zachary again for the generous donation, and again for all of your time, all of our channel members and patrons. And we'll catch you on the flip side.